Yesterday's show.
Yeah.
Dana White was fantastic. All the guys from Edward Waters College, Joshua Jackson, Greg Ruffin, the football coach, Dr. Paul Bryant, the athletic director. If you
a lot of energy.
The show, we had a lot of energy on the show, man.
Was kind of like the key takeaway from the show yesterday.
I liked it. And here's the deal. I said this, and I really want to be careful how I say this because I appreciate all the interviews that we get, and I appreciate it doesn't have to be a big interview. It doesn't have to be someone at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. I like all our interviews. But sometimes there's a distinct difference between interviews. And we've had them on before, and I won't name names, but I mean, just some that you kind of like, okay, they're here because we asked them to come. It was very nice of them to come on, but they're really not into it that much. Dana White did the rounds like with everybody yesterday, which I didn't realize. I didn't realize he was doing all that at the time.
And here we thought we were special.
I know, I really did. I'm not going to lie to you.
Exclusive 690 coverage.
Well, I knew we weren't going to be exclusive. He talked to Yahoo, and he did make some local rounds, and he also he talked to. I ended up seeing he was on like CNBC, and he was on all these places. So obviously, yesterday was a big media day.
Yeah.
For the UFC coming to Jacksonville. But I just left that, and went back and listened to it and was thinking last night a little more about it. And I don't do this about our industry very much and maybe not enough about our show and everything else. But I just thought he was really fun. You made it a big part of that because you really know the MMA stuff. Totally different. If I was going to ask about it, I couldn't have gotten as in-depth as you did. But he just brought it. And whether we were talking golf, football, hating the media, or UFC and promoting the fights, which you knew he'd have energy to promote the fights. That's his baby. I just thought he was really good. By the way, our other guests yesterday were fantastic, too. So it brought a lot of energy to the show. I really liked it. So today we're not going to have any. Show's over.
Sorry, man. We're just going to milk this one in. Here's the thing that I want to talk about a little. Well, a couple things. Number one, of course, Dana White brought the energy. I mean, keep in mind, it is his job to sell fights, right? So he always has to bring it. He always has to be on his A game.
I get it.
That's his game. But at the same time,
does he have to bring it to Jacksonville?
No, for sure.
Yeah, whatever.
No,
hey,
for
guys,
sure.
I appreciate it.
Listen,
canned answers.
I'm just super thankful that he came on. Like you said, he was he was himself. He really held no punches, if you will, no pun intended. So yeah, it was a great interview. The one thing that, because I went back and listened to the interview as well, and it's got great traction. There's some MMA websites that are kind of taking it now and rolling with it, which is cool to see. But the one takeaway that I didn't really think of until the second time around is his thoughts on the NFL season. Because keep in mind who Dana White is right now.
Yeah.
Dana White's the guy that sat with Donald Trump when they're talking with Roger Goodell and other sports, presidents and CEOs and things like that. Dana White's been in all those meetings. So Dana White's heard things probably that nobody else has really heard revolving the sports world. And if you go back and listen to the interview yesterday, Dana White was pretty adamant about saying that he's not sure if the NFL season is going to happen this up and coming year.
He slid that in, and you're exactly right, because I was on a walk with Steph, not talking to her, instead just listening to the interview, because that's what I do.
Always at work. I love it, man. Work ethics, unmatched.
And now I need something to do since I know I'm not going to talk to Steph on my walks.
I took one out of your book today. Me and Nicole went to the beach, and I just sat on my phone emailing people the whole time.
See where that gets you guys. See where it gets you.
But you're right. He slipped it in toward the end of the interview. You asked him about Tom Brady and the Patriots, and we asked if they were tanking for Trevor type of thing. He said, and he kind of slipped it in. He's like, if there's a season. And you're right about that, so carry on. But it's a good point that he has been in the talk about all the commissioners that met with Trump, and he's been one of those guys. So what does he know? What does he think? And as a guy who kind of has a feel for other sports, see, he's kind of the rebel sport, right? He's a lot like, in a sense, not exactly, so don't get this wrong. I don't want to disrespect him in any way because I don't know how he would take this. But Vince McMahon's like this. Like, wrestling doesn't follow the same rules. Vince McMahon, it's the outlaw thing, and it's technically, by some, entertainment more than sport. Well, MMA, UFC, Dana White, definitely sport. Also entertainment, but definitely fits in the outlaw kind of category, I would think, versus the maybe sometimes conservative approaches of some of the other leagues.
So you're right there. And I think the UFC, Brent, they're not really worried about the NFL at all. Like, if anything, man, getting players to kind of chime in on Twitter and say they're watching the fights, that probably helps them, right? Because the UFC, 9 times out of 10, probably even more than that, they never have to go against the NFL because the NFL plays their games on what? Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. The UFC fights, usually, unless it's overseas or something like that, the fights are on a Saturday. So the NFL is not any competition with the UFC. Now, college football, you can make an argument. But this is my point, though. Dana White's got no reason to, bring a negative spin to the NFL. Because let's be honest, he's a fan himself. He's like he said, he's a big Patriots fan, man. Like he's always rocking his Patriots gear to the UFC events. So with that being said, once again, I'm a little curious, and I wish I would have picked his brain a little more about what he feels that the landscape of the NFL is going to be like. Because he's been privileged to more information than you have, than more information than I have, and then let's be honest, more information than a lot of people on ESPN or Pick Your Sports Network have had. I mean, he's been at the epicenter of the dealings with Donald Trump and Roger Goodell and all that stuff. So once again, the fact that he didn't really remain optimistic about the NFL season, it could speak volumes.
Yeah, well, Dana White was on with us yesterday, and that's a great call going back, and we kind of did. There were so many other things to talk about. He did mention that. Now, to that degree, okay, I think I actually had some of these conversations today with someone, and by the way, not on like a formal level. So it was more just what everybody's been doing, right? It's
you and Trump are talking to each other? What's up, man? Did you give him a call last night?
We were playing golf.
But there you go.
But so very important. What we all are trying to do, right? Project and see where we're at, and what's the business going to look like, and what's the fall going to look like. Well, a couple of things. We're going to talk about the schedule a little bit today and kind of the ideal schedule for the Jags. But tomorrow's a big day in the NFL because if I'm an NFL player, if I work around the NFL kind of like we do, to me, when you release that schedule, that means you really do think there's going to be a season. So there's an important nature to that. But I do think the hesitation still, and I think this is a real hesitation, is what about the fans? What about the fan involvement? Now, listen, you're saying, Brent, no kidding. Everybody's been saying that for weeks and months. I think it's more reality. As we get closer to the schedule release, there were reports yesterday that I think it was the AP reported that Commissioner Goodell sent teams a letter basically saying a refund policy for tickets instead of a credit system for tickets. So that, Jags had kind of said that on Monday when they released their plan, but that was a league-wide memo that the AP got their hands on. So that means now the NFL is thinking about it. They're cognizant of it. So do I think the season is going along with plan, the schedule? Yes, that will happen tomorrow. And that will be a big part of it because I think from a player standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, from a league standpoint, it's like, all right, there it is. It's in front of us. There are actually games on the schedule, and they're at this date. That's what they're planning. But the fan part of this is totally different. And we'll talk about that. Like, what could it look like? What will it look like? What will it sound like? If there are no fans. We really haven't done that too much on the football side because the season is so far away. Yeah. But talking to a couple different people today, it got me thinking about that. Just thinking about some of the bone-crushing hits and what they might sound like with no fans to cover up some of the noise.
This is the joy, though, of being in the AFC South Division, right? Because if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you contact the Indianapolis Colts and you get a hold of that crowd noise that Indianapolis was pumping out through 2010 to 2013, and you get a hold of them, man. You start pumping some crowd noise, and you really don't skip a beat.
I'm going to ask a question today, man.
Okay.
You want to be like Mike?
Which Mike?
Jordan or Tyson?
Like
I got a really
weird.
Well, just a weird thing about this when I was thinking about it.
I'm not trying to do prison time now.
And we are really talking about some killer bees.
I can't wait.
You have an unhealthy knowledge of bees.
I grew up on a bee farm.
Unhealthy knowledge of bees.
Unhealthy? I grew up on a bee farm.
It's coming
up.
What
do you want
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
A mix of clouds and sun today, still very warm with a widely scattered brief shower or two and highs in the mid to upper 80s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Say thank you to your quarantine queen this Mother's Day with a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
Where is this water coming from?
Who will deliver us lunch?
Why is the air conditioner blowing hot air?
Where can I get a tire fixed?
Do you know someone who can get marker stains out of the carpet?
What do we need to do to get the pool ready?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjacks@cmg.com and let's build Jacks.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home, get a virtual consultation, visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. License number CQ1057788. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jackson, ESPN 690. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Brent Martin, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Wednesday edition.
Yeah, take your time.
Almost did Thursday.
Take your time. You're going to get there.
Wednesday. What day is it? Absolutely. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's families are well. Supposed to get a little rain in the area today. I don't think it happened. I'm telling you, this weather's been unbelievable. A little hot, but so what? I mean, it's early May, in my opinion. And I guess it's going to cool down, Mike Burrish said, over the next few days. So the weather continues to be fantastic. Count your blessings on that front. If you're in other parts of the country and the weather is not good, and obviously COVID-19 has hit maybe even a little harder in some of those parts of the country, well, it's a totally different story. That'll be one of the most memorable things about this is how different it would be if you were in different segments of the country. Very, very few things are like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, obviously, if you're around here, you deal with hurricanes, mm-hmm. right? If you're up north, you deal with blizzards and snowstorms. And if you're out west in California and stuff, you deal with earthquakes.
Correct.
You know, you understand that. But this has that feel to it that if you're like in New York and New Jersey, and if you're in Philly, if you're in Massachusetts, where I have family, if you're in California, is a totally different feel than kind of what it feels like around here. And I guess to a degree, if you're in some parts of Florida, like some parts of South Florida, it even feels a little bit different around this whole deal than it does now. I'll continue to say, and this is not me suppressing the importance of this. This is just reality. I know one person in 2 months of this that has been impacted, affected, has it. One person.
Yeah.
And that's Tony Baselli. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody else. Like I feel like I know a decent amount of people.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody else that has it. My sister actually was tested because her significant other is a firefighter, and his ladder mate, I guess you would call it, okay. Who he shares a truck with, had it. Okay. So they had to get tested. That was just recently, but they were both negative. Mm-hmm. And so that's it. I mean, it's so bizarre how it hits people in different ways. And again, I think there's actually been a slow down your life part of this that's been kind of almost pleasing. Mm-hmm. So is that even allowed to say when people have been really impacted economically and health-wise, yet your life hasn't changed that too much? And I just said it to somebody in the last hour. I said, if your life has been impacted economically, and by the way, we still can be and could be, and all of us to some degree, well, or you have been or know people that have been sick, but you feel totally different about it. And if you're in different parts of the country, you feel totally different about it. It's just a weird deal in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on location, obviously. It depends, I guess, how active you are on social media. I mean, to kind of get to your point a little bit, as far as like people that I know that have it, I mean, I could probably only name one or two, and it's nothing like nobody close. I mean, it's just, friends of friends.
Yeah,
so, like as far as my family and myself, like we haven't been affected by it at all. But then obviously, you go on social media, and I get it, man. You have to take it with a grain of salt of what you read and what to follow, man. But then, like, when you see what's happening in New York, like, that's not made up. You know, like, that's not a fabrication. I mean, that's the real deal up there, man. They're still going through it. So you take that into account, and it's hard because you want to make decisions based off of, you know, the bubble that you live in, right? Like right now, we just said it. We don't know the people that have coronavirus. Everyone's like, all right, well, let's just go back to normal. I mean, we're all good. But then you go to New York, man, and you see what they're dealing with up there. It's a different story. So it's hard to, you know, think outside of the bubble, think outside the city that you're in, and realize that it's bigger than just us, right? I mean, it's a global thing, obviously. It's a national thing, obviously. And when you're talking about sports, especially, you got to remember that there's more happening than just in the state that you're in.
Yeah, and by the way, I think our opinions are shaped by a little bit of that, of where we are. If we're doing this show in New England or in the Mid-Atlantic, New Jersey and New York area, would we feel a little bit different about everything going on? Maybe. I don't know, but maybe. Bottom line is the NFL schedule is coming out tomorrow. Sports looks like it's getting back a little bit around here. I saw baseball fields in my neighborhood being groomed today, which makes you kind of think in a couple of weeks they might be hosting tournaments and games and those kind of things. I don't know, but we could be getting to that point. I think it's trending that way for the summer. So a lot of good things in that sense. Obviously, all the beaches are now open. I think full go in that regard. So we're seeing it. It's unfolding here. I think we got to keep that perspective, and I almost say that out loud to everybody to remind myself to keep the perspective of this is still a global pandemic, and some people are impacted way more than others. Simple as that. That being said, though, how does that impact what might go on in the fall? What the NFL is thinking? Keep in mind, the NFL is headquartered in New York. That's where their league offices are. They feel this thing heavy. They have also navigated through the last couple of months by keeping business as usual from a transaction point of view. They just pulled off a draft in the most unique way possible. And I think because, down here, Tampa, Miami, Atlanta, Jacksonville, you've got a few teams. Carolina maybe might fit in this and say, well, they might be ready to go. Yeah, they'll have fans there, no problem. Well, stop and think about MetLife Stadium, New York Jets, New York Giants, Gillette Stadium, Patriots, California, LA, new stadium, San Francisco, big market, right? Yep. A lot of people. Think about those teams I just mentioned alone, and you could probably bring the Eagles into play here and others, but think about those. Those are huge market teams, big market teams that could be heavily impacted longer than folks down here in the Southeast or other parts of the country. And you have to wonder how that skews their thinking, their planning, and the execution of what will be an NFL season as we go forward. So I think that will set the table for this next discussion. How are they thinking? How are they going to go on about this? And how much are they seriously planning no fans or limited fans in these NFL stadiums?
Yeah, you know, we've talked about it before on the show, and it's just no one really knows what's going to happen in the future. No one knows what's going to happen in the next week or so, let alone when the football season's supposed to start up, okay? I think the benefit, though, of the NFL league offices being in New York, I'm not really saying it's a benefit, but I'm just saying what they can take away from it is they're kind of at the epicenter of how bad it is, right? So Roger Goodell, and I get it, man. The NFL is all about making money, and dollar's always going to be king, even more than player safety, and I'll argue that till the day I die. But that's another story. It's another argument for another day. But I think that they have to be careful in how they send the right message out to people. They have to be careful of how the world is seeing how the NFL is going to react to this. Because right now they've had the benefit of not really having to do anything, right? Like the draft went on, obviously not in Vegas, but it still went on without a hitch and everything. And I think it was met with some pretty good reviews. So that wasn't the issue there. We'll see with OTAs, we'll see with training camp, all that stuff. But they're going to be under a microscope, okay? And they're the biggest sport in the country, arguably probably second or third biggest sport in the world. So they will be under the microscope of how they handle this going forward. So there'll be a lot of pressure on them to do the right thing, obviously. And, of course, no matter what they do, I'm sure there's going to be some blowback. But it's like I said, I think they have the advantage of being in New York and kind of having a pulse on exactly just how bad it can be.
Yeah, and listen, Miami on Good Morning America a few days ago, one of their executives kind of unveiled a thought process, that contingency plan. And listen, be honest, everybody's doing this around the NFL. Everybody's been doing this in sport. They have to plan for this. You're talking about 50, 60,000 people in a stadium that you can't just change 2 weeks before the season and say, oh, well, we thought it was going to happen all along. They have to be ready, all right? This is big business. They'll be ready for these kind of things. And again, I've said all along, maybe we're lucky because the engine that is the NFL that really drives so many industries in sports didn't get impacted from a game perspective like the other sports. But the NFL is also very lucky that they've had all this planning, all this data, all the examples of what to do, what not to do ahead of them. So they really have to get it right. There's pressure on them to get it right because you can't say, oh, well, we didn't know. We've never done this before. Well, everybody's been the blueprint of what to do, what not to do, how to react. And so Roger Goodell will have some pressure on them in that sense. The owners will have some pressure on them to get this right because this didn't sneak up on them. This is like not having presents ready on Christmas, man. I mean, it's the same day every year. So you got to be ready. But the Miami Dolphins unveiled a plan that showed they have a 65,000-seat stadium. They said as little as 15,000 could be in there, and they could execute a plan that way. Some of it was even getting out of the building after the game is over, releasing fans row by row, almost like you were in church, and getting out of church that way. So there will be a lot of different ideas, what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, how much does the consumer, how much does the fan take on responsibility and risk going to these games? Are they willing to do it? I talked to somebody today. I thought this was a fascinating point. Say you're only allowed to fill up the stadium at 25% at that time. That's what people are comfortable with. We want fans there, but we only can do it at 25%. Do you raise the ticket prices? I mean, because it's now it's supply and demand.
Sure.
I mean, couldn't you do that? You could find 15,000 people to pay premium pricing, I'm sure, and still fill it.
Depending who the team is.
Yeah, depending. But those are the ideas that go into it, right? Those are the thoughts that get provoked by it. And by the way, in the back of your mind, you're hoping the whole time, hey, let's just have 65,000 be ready to roll. And again, that might be at your own risk, but let's be ready to roll the normal way we do things.
The biggest thing that has to happen going forward is that every single NFL city and every single NFL team has to be on the same page. You can't just go by the ordinances set up by each city, right? Like, for instance, right now, the city of Jacksonville, it's a lot more easy going right now in terms of how coronavirus is being handled compared to like a New York or compared to a California where it's probably a little more dangerous over there. So with that being said, you can't justify having like Jacksonville. All right, well, let's open it to everybody. But you know what? New York, no, it can only have about 15,000 people at that stadium because now you're talking about a clear competitive advantage depending on how many fans can show up. And listen, I get that you could go by each city's standards and each city's guidelines, but at the same time, you have to even the playing field, okay? And, like, to give other teams advantage and things like that, I don't think that would be right, especially during the pandemic.
Well, and that's interesting. And as we get closer, I think more of those conversations will take place. Like in Major League Baseball, NBA, they've thrown out ideas of neutral site games and places in Vegas and Orlando or Florida and Arizona for baseball. I don't know if we'd be like that in the football world. But even from a sense of, somebody asked me this today, and I just don't know. But I think they're all relevant questions, and they're interesting talking points to at least think about. And this is what the NFL and the owners and people in charge have to think about. If New York is not ready to go, say, MetLife Stadium, do you play there with no fans? But do you play down in Jacksonville and Tampa and other places with fans? I mean, could we see, do you have to be on an even playing field in that regard? I don't know if you do. I'm not sure. I think, don't you think players would welcome the idea of, hey, all right, I'll go down there and play with fans? I'd rather do that.
Listen, players wouldn't care, but owners would care. Like, how is it fair to be an NFL owner and you can't open the stadium to any fans, but then your peers, other people in your group, you go to Jacksonville and they can fill out a stadium or half a stadium?
I think it would then relate to what is the how could you do a revenue share type thing? Do you split the gates in that sense? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
You know what? If you do that, then
or does
then
the
I'm not
NFL
taking the
filter
risk.
money? Right?
Well, maybe then
because the NFL, in my opinion, here's the thing: if there are this is what I believe. I have no idea. Again, we're trying to all act like the commissioners here, but I don't think they know a whole bunch. So that's why I don't think these things are that outlandish. But if you ask me, if any stadium was going to put however many people and 60,000 people in there, and you normally would get that, and your ticket revenue is X amount of dollars, I believe the NFL, because they've got an abundance of money. I mean, come on, had a windfall of money for a decade here. They're sitting on a great big pile of money. It's not like they have to perform in 2020 to be able to pay their bills.
No, they're fine.
I wonder if there will be some kind of almost relief program to the owners that they won't give them all the ticket revenue, but maybe if you only can put 15,000 in a stadium or 25% in a stadium, would you then the NFL kick in another what 25% would have been in the gate in the revenue in these stadiums and kind of give them, let's just say, write a check for $5 million to each team. To in the 2020 season. I mean, they might do something like that. I don't know. It's almost like a bailout for the owners. Not that they need it. I understand this is huge business, but that's more the NFL. I mean, that might be the responsibility of the NFL to say, hey, you couldn't even fill your stadium this year because you weren't allowed to. So we're going to, give you a little bit of a bonus check here for your bottom line. I don't know. That crossed my mind today.
No, it's an interesting theory. An argument could be made, though, would players be upset over that? Because essentially the players are showing up for work and they're still collecting their paychecks. The owners are kind of getting bailed out a little bit because I guess I get the owners depend on the fans to show up to make their revenue and the players go on the field and they do. Yeah. But I think that the players could have an argument saying, well, why are the owners getting bailed out?
Yeah, I wouldn't think they'd have much of an argument, to be honest with you, because they're going to work and they're getting their check. The owners are going to work, but they don't have the opportunity to create more revenue.
But let me ask you this, though. Say the season gets delayed and the owners get a bailout and the players don't, then
maybe then you talk a little bit different. Maybe it gets a little more gray in that regard. So who knows how it's going to work. Here's what I thought about today. Okay, take the economics out because we don't know. Take the how many fans can go out. But what if we don't have fans or have very few fans in the NFL stadium? Think about this, okay? Think about how our viewing experience will change. I watch a little bit of the Korean baseball stuff for like an inning.
God bless you, Brent.
And if you watch if you watch golf with Tiger out of it, then golf's going to start back up. I think if you watch those things on TV, I'm talking about. Now, the atmospheres internally will be different, no doubt. But if you watch on TV, I didn't need fans in the Korean Baseball League to watch baseball and enjoy it. I didn't need it. Maybe in the eighth inning of a tie game and in the play. I feel like you feel the fans in baseball in the postseason. That's when you feel them. And game 72 in June, I don't know if the fans are really, whoa, I can't watch this game. It feels so different.
Yeah.
Golf, very similar, unless Tiger's fist pumping on 18 and you hear the roar of the crowd, right? Tiger's the only one that the crowd really jumps off the TV at you in golf. I do feel like basketball is totally different. Like watching basketball with no fans because you could hear
a lot of sneakers squeaking.
Sneakers squeaking. That is a different sound. We're not used to that. Well, think about football. College football, but especially NFL football. Think about the bone-crushing hits, that would be like, whoa. That would actually be awesome to be able to hear that. Think about Fox putting that mic on the field sometimes and you hear it on the replay or when they play it back, but you'd be hearing that every play. The audio guy would be the most valuable player, by the way, in these broadcasts.
Yeah.
Think about the amount of swearing that goes on the field. You've been there before that we don't hear and doesn't get picked up. The calls that are made. Heck, you could hear sideline to sideline probably. You could have coaches shouting at each other in empty stadiums because they can hear each other.
Listen,
I mean, just think about the sounds of what you normally hear and don't hear, but you would hear with no fans.
If you're NFL Network, if you're ABC, if you're CBS or whatever, and you want to do something new, you want to do something exciting and possibly generate some revenue, assuming that the fans can't show up to the games to start out with, here's what you do for NFL games. you have 2 channels. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
One channel, just have it, whatever. Just one channel, just have the hits and everything. Obviously, lower the mics down the players so you can't hear it. But essentially, it's an empty stadium, and it's football, okay? And that's the one channel. The other channel, a la The Last Dance, where one channel is swearing and one channel is censored.
Yeah.
But the other channel, you turn the mics and the players up, and you get everybody, okay? And you kind of get a behind the scenes, behind the curtain a little bit about the game of football. So number one, obviously you can hear the bone-crunching hits. Number 2, you can hear how the quarterbacks are calling out audibles. You can hear how the linebackers are setting everybody up, and you can get a full feel of the game, something that no one's really ever saw or heard before unless you're watching NFL films, the old school films where they have like the big mics on the sidelines and they do like the recap games. But I'm talking about a live football game with mics turned up to the nth degree and uncensored, unfiltered, just football the way it was meant to be heard. I think that if you're, once again, if you're ESPN, if you're NBC, if you're ABC, if you're NFL Network, if you're Fox, whoever's showing the games, if you offer that, I think you have something special there.
Not only that, you know what I thought about? I'm like, in that sense, now maybe it's more the players on the field, but I wonder if it would jump across the TV. I mean, a guy gets crushed in actually injury and you don't root for that. I mean, heck, you might be able to hear some of that stuff.
Sure.
Like, first of all, the amount of pain inflicted.
Yeah.
But secondly, like...
Well, and listen, let's not sell society short here, all right? There's a reason why the UFC is so popular. There's a reason why people still show those bone-crunching hits on Twitter and videos and things like that, because people still love some of the violence that's associated with football and other combat sports and things like that. So I get it, yeah. If a guy breaks his leg, coming through in HD, you could clearly hear it, but... It is what it is, man. That's part of football. Like the players here on the field, so guess what? Then the fans watching can hear it at home as well.
Yeah, somebody in the last hour brought it up to me about that, just the swearing and the audibles and the calls and all that. And we have talked about that extra channel where you could kind of buy into it or something. You just have to get so many people to agree with it and to it. And that didn't happen in this CBA, so it's probably a long time off. But yeah. But your point is on. I think I don't know how it's all executed. I don't know to what degree it's executed. But it feels like you're watching like any given Sunday, like in the theaters almost.
Yeah.
By watching an NFL game with no ambient sound outside of what actually is going on the field.
Listen, here's what. Then I get the players might not be involved in it. So here's a solution to that. So every single channel, whether it's CBS, who's ever showing the games. You offer the alternative, okay? And whether it's like a streaming service where people got to pay a little extra for it, so be it. You take all that revenue that you make from that and you give a big percentage to the players, okay? So now the players are making more money. And then essentially the players are doing the exact same thing they've always done on the football field. Now there's just, there's some microphones and there's some cameras out there. Once again, I think you could have something there. I mean, will they do it? Probably not. But I think it would be a foolish thing. If I can watch The Last Dance on ESPN and I can hear Michael Jordan drop 20 F-bombs per episode, I can go on, turn on a football game and hear players cussing.
I was just thinking about that. I'm gonna, and they warn you about it, but I'm gonna have to look at. I'm sure somebody did an article about this, but how did ESPN get away with putting that on with the FCC? Did they ask for a one-time pass? I don't know. I mean, heck, I'm in the business. I don't know how that operates. I'm going to dig into that, though, because you just brought it up, and now I'm curious. Because what happens is, if in the NFL, if the mic picks up a swear, or in any sporting event, any TV event, heck, if I swore on the news, you get fined.
Sure.
Right? So if it picks it up, you get dinged for that, and it's a pretty hefty fine, we're talking about $1 billion industry, so it might not seem like much to them, but it's a pretty good fine. And even if it's your fault or not, if it was accident or not, I mean, if you let that on, you're getting dinged for it by the FCC. Well, I wonder how ESPN got around that by being able to showcase the unedited version, the uncensored version on ESPN. I just think, I've said this often, okay? I have more appreciation for what football players do, maybe more than any other sport, because I've been on the sidelines during an NFL game. Not a college game. I've been on the sidelines during a college game too, but the NFL game. At the fastest the game is played, the most violent the game is played, with the toughest men in that sport, I have been on the field, on the sideline, 10, 15, 20 feet away from it. And that has shaped my perspective of an appreciation and respect for guys like you who played the game and current guys that do play the game. It is totally different, in my opinion, than watching it from the front row. Then even that 25 extra feet is different. Being up in the stands is totally different. Being in the press box is like being on Mars.
Yeah.
And so I have this appreciation. It's also why it shapes my opinion.
You can feel the energy, though. Like, it's hard to explain via the radio, but if you feel it, you feel it.
You feel it.
When you're on the sidelines and, you're right next to a huddle or something like that, there's like just this certain type of energy, this aura that escalates off players, and it's palpable, man. It's great. And I can't explain it, but it's there.
It's true. But again, I think it shapes my appreciation for the toughness and violent nature of the sport, and why I have said on this show multiple times, and nobody thinks I'm truthful, is that I wouldn't go in for $1 million to play a series at TIAA Bank. I wouldn't. Unless you just told me I could stand on the side and not have to get hit. That would be different. But I just wouldn't. Like, I appreciate it that much. But what would be interesting here is how much respect maybe a viewer, the fan, the average fan, the diehard fan, would then get that same feeling of appreciation if they just heard all the sounds of the game raw with no other sounds in a stadium. And so I wonder how much more appreciation we would have as fans for the sport of football, and maybe even love for the sport of football and respect for the players if we got it in that sense, that raw nature of it, which I guess is possible. I'm not saying it will happen, but it would almost be a cool experience, I think, to watch on TV.
And in my opinion, there's zero negatives to it, okay? If you're worried about the foul language, because spoiler alert, there will be foul language, okay? I can turn on TV, any channel, and there's going to be foul language, okay? If you're really trying to blanket your children as you can't say those words, you can't even hear those words. Like, to me, that's not the way to go about teaching your kids what and what not to say. But that's, once again, different story for a different day. But you always have the option, right? Where if you're worried about it, then go on the channel that's censored. Go on the channel where the mics are turned down a little bit. To me, it's a no-brainer, Brent, because it's a win-win situation. You give the hardcore football fans, your general audience, something new, something fresh, something exciting in a climate where, you know what, we miss the fans. We miss all the cheering, because that's an advantage, man. Like, especially if you go to the games, like, you know how much a crowd can, sway a football game. Well, if that's not on your TV screen, you need something else to blanket that, okay? And you need something else to look at, and you need something else to hear. I mean, to me, football, it's the ultimate game of senses. Yes, you watch the game and everything, but like you said, it's the sound, it's the collisions, it's the crowd. I mean, it touches all your senses. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the audible part of it then feature the players. It's gonna showcase guys. You want to talk about branding?
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about branding?
Yeah.
It's gonna showcase guys, man.
Good and bad. It's a little risky in that sense.
Good and bad, man. But at the end of the day, like, listen, people have an idea of what those guys say and what they go through. Okay, they always call it the locker room talk kind of thing, right? Like, you know what's going on. So once again, if it offends you, then so be it. Then turn the channel and watch the other stream or whatever like that. But if you want the real deal, 100% football in your face, it is what it is. Then turn it on, man, and listen to what players say and listen to how they act, and I'm sure people will be blown away by it.
All right, a quick thought or two on the schedule when we come back, because a little bit later on, I'm going to reveal a couple of faux schedules. I have no idea if this is what it looks like, but would you like a schedule that looks like A, B, or C? For the Jaguars. What's like the ideal schedule for the Jags? But before we get to that, how important is this schedule release coming up? I've been a little surprised, by the way, that we're not getting the preseason games first.
Yeah, but we're going to get a 3-hour countdown to the schedule release.
I know, but to my point, ladies and gentlemen. And I put this out on Twitter earlier, and somebody said that you get 3 hours. I get it. I mean, you could do a lot in the 3 hours, but you also could have 3 days worth of discussion because of the preseason if you had dropped it yesterday or even today. Yeah. Just shocked, because the NFL usually does it that way. But the NFL schedule is coming out tomorrow. I'll tell you exactly what time, what do you expect, and I really want to get your perspective. Do players care? It shapes my life. The fans put it on their calendars. It means something. And understanding, it means everything right now, because we're just looking for something new and some information, and that life is going to happen in the fall. Yeah. What about players? Do they care? Well, you can talk about that next on ESPN 690.
During this uncertain time, one thing is certain: the essential need for continued love and care for your pet. Forever Vets Animal Hospital will remain open with the health and well-being of staff, clients, and pets remaining a top priority. Forever Vets Animal Hospital's 8 locations offer curbside pickup and drop-off, follow social distancing requirements, wear personal protective equipment, and have thorough cleaning procedures of exam rooms following every appointment. The Forever Vets team is thankful for the hard work and dedication of Jacksonville's first responders and will be offering a 10% discount to the doctors, nurses, police officers, firefighters, and delivery truck drivers continuing to help our community during this time. The senior citizen and armed forces discount has also increased from 5 to 10%. Forever Vets Animal Hospital is committed to continuing to care for the pets who are always there for us, especially during times like these when we need them the most. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, open for you. Visit forevervets.com to learn more or schedule an appointment.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Take a breath. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. Things are changing, and change can be difficult sometimes. Change in how we live our lives, how we run our businesses, our jobs, our kids, our schools, our neighborhoods. But this is Jacksonville, and you won't find a more dedicated, compassionate, and caring community anywhere. From Nassau to St. John's, from West Side to the beaches, God knows we can weather a storm, and we can get through this as well. All of us at Community First realize that no one has all the answers to what we're facing. But after more than 80 years in Jacksonville, we do know this: things get better when people stick together. So that's what we'll do, and we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you: Mellow Mushroom, Coast to Coast Fence, Beaches Fence and Deck, Troy Haulers Transportation, Chris White Lawyer, Tropical Lawns. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Did you know that you have the power to positively impact a local child's life? It's as easy as donating to Daniel, Florida's oldest child service agency. Daniel provides counseling to abused children. Daniel helps homeless teens find shelter and learn to live independently. Daniel connects kids with foster families and strengthens at-risk families so they can stay together. They've done all this and more for 135 years. Please become a part of improving the lives of local children and families by donating at danielkids.org today.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you: Terra Motors, Pat's Nursery, J&J Tree Experts, Cure Pharmacy, Spatola Contracting, Fisherman's Dock Seafood Market. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
As the virus creates more questions, you need a voice you can trust. At Action News Jax, we put truth over hype.
We want to try and put your mind at ease.
Our team of reporters, dedicated, researching, constantly pushing for answers, talking to doctors, scientists, and experts, so you're informed on the local impact. Because the more you know, the safer you'll be. Watch CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax. We are Jax in this together.
Take a look out your window right now. Things appear basically the same, but you know they're not. Same with your business. There have been changes, some might even be permanent. Only time will tell. But in the meantime, how will you respond? Stay the course, or will you explore the new opportunities in front of you? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we know that those who explore often discover wonderful new things. If you're willing, we're able to help. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com. And let's build Jax.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home, does your traditional agent charge you 6% to list it on the MLS to other agents instead of targeting buyers directly online? That's why Rex was born. For a fee starting at 2%, Rex sells your home where buyers are looking, online, optimized by data-driven marketing, not the MLS. To get started, visit sellwithrex.com. That's sellwithrex.com. With Rex, selling or buying a home has never been easier. Price your home, get a virtual consultation, visit online open houses and showings, all from the comfort of your home with a few clicks of a button. Want to learn more? Visit sellwithrex.com or just use your phone and call 833-REX-HOME. 833-REX-HOME. That's 833-739-4663. License number CQ 1057788. Minimum fee may apply. Rex fully supports the principles of the Fair Housing Act and Equal Opportunity Act.
J. David Tax Law wants you to know that they are here to help individuals and businesses with tax debt issues during the coronavirus pandemic. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Tax problems can be extremely stressful, especially now. If you owe a tax debt, there are new programs available that can help reduce or eliminate your IRS or sales tax burden. These programs expire on July 15th, so don't wait. Get the help you need with tax debt, payroll taxes, bank levies, wage garnishments, tax liens, and unfiled returns. With a $1 trillion economic stimulus package on the way, the IRS will be collecting an unprecedented amount of tax debt to fund this historic initiative. At J. David Tax Law, only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you. Never trust your tax situation to anyone you can't walk in and look in the eye. If you have federal or state sales tax debt, have a sit down with J. David Tax Law. Your first step is a no-cost consultation. Call J. David Tax Law at 904-507-4777 or go to jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Do you hear something in the attic?
Where do you want to eat tonight?
Why won't the lights work?
Where should I take my car for engine work?
Do you think I need to get this spot checked out?
Where did these bugs come from?
When are we going to paint the house?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and in the TuneIn Radio app.
I think the mindset is that we're going to go forward with Leonard on the team. I had a good conversation with him on Friday. I know Coach Marone's had some discussions with him. He seems to be in great shape and a great mental frame of mind, and we feel like that he'll have a great season this year.
Well, they might have tried to unload him. It's not going to happen for Leonard Fournette. Certainly doesn't look that way. And that's General Manager Dave Caldwell was talking to Pro Football Talk and the other day and said going forward with Leonard Fournette. Listen, the Jaguars tried to wheel and deal. I don't think that's a secret. They couldn't unload him for at least what they wanted. We've talked about this at length. It's not worth revisiting unless you want to, and you're always welcome to, 904-362-9901. But at least not right now. I think the next stage will be, okay, how's he looking in camp and what's his attitude when he talks about it? But I think he tweeted out, he said, hey, it's business. I'm ready to go. Does that make you like Leonard Fournette more? The fact that a guy understands it? Again, if this thing was hung over a guy like Jalen Ramsey, he would hold that against the organization forever. And he's not the only one, in fairness to Jalen.
There would be a lot of players that essentially were trying to be traded away. Didn't happen, and then they have to go work for that same employer. That's not an easy thing to do, Brent.
No.
Because the back of your mind, it's like, well, I'm coming to work, but do they even want me here?
Yeah.
So at least from what Leonard Fournette has said, now I don't know how he feels. I mean, I'm just going by what he says. He seems to be in the right frame of mind, knowing that this season is all going to be dependent on how well he does because that next contract will be based off his performance this year.
Yeah, and I think even Leonard at times has been like, do I really want to be here? Am I trying to ask out of here? I mean, you kind of wonder that. Cam Newton stuff, all of it. I just thought it was refreshing to hear him say that. Now, how does he feel? It could change in 2 weeks, could change in 3 months. But obviously, he had a conversation with Dave Caldwell, and they're on the same page. It is a business, you know? And if you get your feelings hurt easily, it's probably not the greatest business to be in at times. But Leonard knows what's on the table, and it's a huge year for him. And if he delivers, he'll get paid big bucks, whether it's here or somewhere else. It probably won't be here, but maybe it could be. You know, things change. I still haven't given up hope that the Jan thing doesn't change. So yeah. I don't think the book's closed on that. I do think things change, whether people want to admit it or not. Here's what doesn't change. The NFL schedule gets released usually around this time. Actually, it's a little bit earlier than this, before the draft. They waited a couple weeks, I think in part because of this pandemic. And they could spread the news cycle out a little bit more, too. I don't know how much that had to play into it. But it looks like they needed a few more weeks to get this thing set to kind of get a feel for what's going on with COVID-19. And here we are tomorrow at 7:30. The NFL schedule will be released. We will find out what the Jacksonville Jaguars are when they are playing. We already know who they're playing, but when they are playing. And it is a big deal. Like I don't know if it's the media that makes it such a big deal because we all know our lives revolve around it. And seriously, it does. Like I don't schedule anything until I find out what's going on with the Jags schedule. I mean, it's really an important part of our lives, no doubt about it. But I think a lot of people feel that way. What road trip are they going on? Maybe they want to go to Green Bay. Absolutely, a lot of people do. What time of year?
I do.
Does it conflict with the schedule?
Yeah.
So what trips are the Bold City Brigade planning? Well, can they go on it? Well, not if it's in October, but they can if it's in November. So all of this is a big deal. And then we found out earlier this week, no London games. That changes a lot of things. Changes a lot of things I can tell you from us internally in terms of planning and working around the Florida-Georgia game. It maybe changes things citywide and internally over at Jags headquarters because of the Florida-Georgia game when the bye falls and now you have to worry about being on the road or being home at certain times where the Jags would have been away plus the bye for 3 weeks. Working around Florida-Georgia would have been pretty easy. So how did the NFL navigate that earlier this week when they throw out these schedule changes or the actual schedule? We don't know how many changes there have been. So we know it's important. I know people can't wait for it to come out, and I'm with you on that tomorrow night, more from a selfish standpoint probably than anything. But what about the players, man? Do the players care about this? Do the players – you already know who you're playing.
Yeah.
But if you start at home, or if you play 3 games in September at 1 o'clock in Jacksonville, rather than 4 o'clock or 2 games on the road, or if you go to Green Bay in early December instead of early October, if you finish on the road, which could be a good game if everybody plans on being successful, at Houston or at Tennessee in late December, the primetime games, how much do the players seriously take a look at this and say, I don't like that, I like that, or what?
Not as much as you guys do. And when I say you guys, I mean, I say me too because I'm part of the media, but not as much as the media does, apparently. Listen, and then, I mean, I've been a part of a couple of these, okay? If you're an NFL player and the schedule drops, you look at a couple of things. Number one, you look at the first game of the season, okay? Because that's obviously important. That's who are you playing to start the season out with. Number two, you look at the teams that, you know, you might have some ties to. For instance, when we played the Packers, well, I think it was 2011, obviously I checked to see, all right, when am I playing Green Bay? Because that's where I'm from. I have family ties there, so players will check that.
How many tickets do I need?
Exactly. Set aside from that, you look at possibly like, for instance, let's say if you played the Chiefs, or maybe you played the 49ers, you played the Ravens, like some team like that's pretty, I mean, it's going to be pretty solid, we think, this up-and-coming season. You check that out. But as far as like, you know, the West Coast trips in week 6 or 7, as far as like your divisional opponents when you play that, you're not worried about that, man. All right? Like you're seriously not, because you know who you're playing already, okay? So like you set your mind to that, or you know, as it is. So now all you're worried about is the cities that you grew up in or whatever it is, the ties, and then just if you're playing like a legit team, and obviously the primetime games too are important, but let's be honest, it's Jacksonville, Florida. And when the schedules got announced here in Jacksonville, I mean, sweet. Thursday night, Colts. Sweet. Thursday night, Titans. Let's get it. Like, there you go. I think we had one Monday night game my rookie year. We played...
Is that Pittsburgh?
Nah.
Baltimore?
No, it was Tennessee Titans.
Oh, was
it was Tennessee Titans because that was my first time getting playing time or whatever. And Chris Johnson embarrassed me on national television when we were down by like 15, 20 or something.
Who on the schedule? I think it's interesting you say that, though. And I feel like I've heard that from NFL guys is that, yeah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. So what can you do about it? You can't change it. I don't think Doug Marrone cares that much.
See, it would be different if you didn't know who you were playing.
Yeah,
because then it's like, oh, man, we're playing the Ravens this year? Dang, we're playing the Packers? No. Like, you know who you're playing already. So just, it'll happen.
But I do wonder from, like, a coach perspective. This isn't like you can have load management like the NBA, right? But I do wonder if you're Doug Marrone and you factor in, you're like, oh, wow, we got 3 games in the heat in September at 1 o'clock in Jacksonville, or 2 at home and 1 in Miami. I wonder if that changes your mindset about training camp when you pull off the gas a little bit in terms of working the guys, all those kind of, or maybe you push more. I'm just saying, I wonder if those things do factor in.
But here's the thing, though, at least from the coaches that I've been around, where if you have a lot of early on games in the heat, so for instance, let's say you start out the NFL season with 2 home games, right? Well, coaches love that if you're in Jacksonville because that's an advantage. Like teams,
yeah, they say it is. Whatever.
You don't think so?
Well, win more freaking games in September then, and I'll agree that's an advantage.
You don't think the heat's an advantage?
No,
it is. I mean, I think it is. I've heard other players say that when they come to Jacksonville in September, it's rough. So I think it's an advantage.
It's rough, but it doesn't usually decide football games. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Do you feel like there was a game in you'd have to really go back and look at the schedule probably. But
Tennessee Titans week 1 when we played them 2011.
You think you had a distinct edge because of the heat?
All I know is that we're wearing white and they're wearing their blue jerseys and they were on the bench like dehydrated, cramping up, and we were fine. And we won the ball game.
Well, that would be a good example of it. I heard the same, though, about Green Bay coming down here. Jags didn't beat Green Bay. That was a close game, but somehow they didn't.
Spoiler alert, Green Bay is a good team. You know?
I think they were okay that year.
Oh, Brent, they were good. Come on, man. Don't shortchange the Green Bay Packers that year. They're pretty good.
Was that 2000 and... This
they
was
didn't go to the Super Bowl, no.
This is like 2015 or 14.
Yeah. I think they were pretty good that year. But all I'm saying is I think the Heat can be an advantage, yes.
Listen, I think it's about as much an advantage as London was an advantage. Familiarity, but doesn't mean you're going to win games.
Yeah, but
whatever.
You can prepare for a time difference. You cannot prepare for 100% humidity if you're coming from Green Bay up north. You can't do it. It affects your body, man.
All right, more on the schedule in a little bit. We're going to give you a couple options. Which ones do you like in terms of who is coming here when? Would any of these benefit the Jags? What's the ideal schedule for the Jags? Coming up in a little bit. Are we going to talk some bees?
If you want to, man.
We are about to be educated on the killer bees, and we're not talking about Biggio and Bagwell. It's next on ESPN 690.
Sí, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
You like money. I suggest you get your voice looked at.
It's allergy season.
It seems to be always allergy season, Stugatz.
That's because it is.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine is a fully accredited, tuition-free state public school that gives children an edge for a lifetime of success. FSDB is nationally recognized for its educational services designed for students' unique communication and accessibility needs. Eligible pre-K and kindergarten through 12th grade students benefit from small class sizes, advanced technology, and various recreation, extracurricular, and performing arts activities. Transportation and boarding services are free to any eligible deaf or blind student, kindergarten through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. My name is Trent Ferguson, and I'm a proud graduate of this wonderful school. This place changes lives. To learn more information or to apply for enrollment, call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org.
These can be unsettling times, but CGC Water Treatment wants you to know that they are there for you and your family. CGC Water Treatment has 50% savings for you. Purchase a Premier Softener and save 50% off a K5, Connecticut's premier reverse osmosis system. When the shelves at the stores are empty, it's a great feeling to have purified water right at home. Call 904-694-2242. or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small. But businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Dotson Brothers Stucco and Painting, Flexicare Childcare, Crossview Mortgage, Bates Custom Creations, Joe Power Screen Repair, Terry's Country Store. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
It's time for some straight talk. Even though most live sports are on hold now, big wireless companies haven't stopped playing games. They're always trying to lock you into overpriced contracts. With Straight Talk Wireless, there are no contracts. It runs on America's best network, same as the big carriers, but you save up to 50%. $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. You might miss sports, but don't play games, you'll lose. Straight Talk Wireless. No contracts, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
This is not the year the graduating class of 2020 wanted or expected, so we're asking for your help to make sure they get recognized. Whether it's a student athlete that's committed to play college sports or a kid who's missing out on graduation, visit ESPN690.com to nominate them for a shout-out. Then listen weekdays at 4 p.m. to Action Sports Jacks to hear Brendan Austin give them the props they deserve.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I think it'll be easier this year for him to kind of step up as that leader. Last year was probably awkward for him, me being there, me being in meeting rooms, and just kind of the whole dynamic. I think me being gone and him just, he is the quarterback, he's the guy, and earning the respect from the teammates. And I think now he can, elevate that where he's, now he's in charge.
That's Eli Manning, retired Eli Manning, talking about my guy, Daniel Jones. I'm almost uncomfortable with how much I've had to claim Daniel Jones. I thought he was going to be better than most people thought. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure if he's even a great quarterback.
Regardless, you're pot committed now.
I am.
Right?
I am kind of like.
They start at the Senior Bowl, and now he is your ultimate ride or die.
He is
he's right up there with Minshew. So good luck to you. Okay. Yeah. He's got some decent stuff going on in New York. He's got a pretty good offense. So we'll see what happens with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I think, they're still kind of in that transition part. I don't know what the Giants are. They have some good parts, better parts. They obviously have Barkley, and if Jones takes a step, and then they do get rid of Eli Manning in terms of the shadow of it. I don't say that as a player in person. I mean, I don't think they're happy about that. They loved everything about Eli Manning for a long time. But to get that out of there now and at least move on, now it feels like they're out of that transition a little bit and can make the full transition into the Daniel Jones era. So we'll see what happens. I'm really lukewarm on the Giants. I just don't know what – they're a mystery team for me. You asked recently like about would you rather have those weapons? I don't know. Ingram can't stay healthy.
Sterling Shepard's had some injuries, but when Sterling Shepard's on, he's on, man.
I know.
He's a good receiver.
But
Golden Tate.
Aren't those guys a great example? Like Ingram, Shepard, Tate, you can say nice things about them, but they come with ifs and kind of like a little hesitation.
Same thing with the Houston Texans, but you like them?
Yeah, I do like them a little bit more.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because I know Deshaun Watson is there.
True.
So it feels more stabilized.
Well, and you hope David Johnson goes for 3,000 yards this season.
I don't hope for anything, okay?
But I'm saying if you're the Houston Texans, you hope that David Johnson goes for 3,000 yards because look what you traded for him.
All right. We are about to find out the depths of versatility of Austin Lane. So, have you heard of these? What are they called? Murder bees?
Murder hornets.
Murder hornets.
Yeah, but murder bees. I mean, by the way, pick a more aggressive name for an insect. What are we doing?
Well, there was a couple of things I've seen, and one is that'd be a great minor league team name, baseball.
I'm not mad at that. I mean, it's right up there with the Wu-Tang Killer Bees, if you will.
Yeah, so...
Flight of Bumblebee?
I mean, if you really want to get good here, go play the Tommy Boy scene.
Oh, now we're talking.
But
your firearms are defenseless.
Kuz came up with a pretty good one, right?
Yeah.
Kuz, what did you tweet out today about the murder hornets?
I said, who would be the I can't even say it. Murder hornet.
You think it's stuff for
murder
you.
Hornet.
Try being from Rhode Island and saying that.
Who would be the murder hornet of the NFL next year? That's somebody that's gonna just flip the league and nobody's gonna be ready for it.
And he's gonna bite all their heads off
and feed them to their young.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get more in depth on an education of bees,
and then we'll
answer that question.
Well, I feel like we should answer the question first and get more educated on the bees because it's a serious thing, and I don't want to end it with something funny.
All right, good idea.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So who's going to be the guy?
Kinlaw, because you know how I feel about it, and you're Daniel, you have Daniel Jones, right? And you've been we'll see what happens with him. Well, my Daniel Jones is Javon Kinlaw. Okay, and I think a guy that goes into the most perfect scheme he could ever go into, a scheme where defensive line coach Chris Kosarik's going to go, hey, you know what? Yeah, your hands are decent. We're going to develop a pass rush move, but you know what? I just want you to focus on your get-off. If you have a good get-off, this wide 9 defense worked just fine. Well, that's what Kinlaw does well, so I think he's going to take the NFL by storm.
Oh, wow, that's a great question. All right, I'm going to go with my first. This is obviously way out there, but who knew of murder hornets before this? How about Jordan Love? Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, goes down.
Does Jordan Love hurt Aaron Rodgers? Okay.
But he goes down.
I'm with you.
This kind of feeds into this whole murder hornet idea, though. And Jordan Love.
It's happened before.
Boom.
Rodgers is taking some hits.
Takes off. And nobody expects, and all of a sudden, Green Bay's looking like geniuses.
Yeah. Kuz,
because they're killing the league.
Go ahead and record this segment because you know what? And I honestly, through all the chaos of Green Bay Packers, fandom, I didn't consider the fact that Aaron Rodgers could realistically get hurt because it's happened pretty much every single season where he has some kind of minor injury and he plays hurt. Where if an opportunity presents itself for Jordan Love and he comes out and he balls out, do you just roll with him then? It's an interesting topic.
Well, and then my follow-up would be for this, could there be a player going into their second season that could take a jump that would surprise teams and maybe catch them off guard?
Yeah, and listen, I know where you're going with this, and the obvious answer, well, I don't know if you're going with this, but the obvious answer would be like Minshew. See, Minshew to me wouldn't fit this. Minshew went 6-6, and that wouldn't surprise me. It might surprise the nation a little bit if he were to go and lead this. Now, the Jags could be this team because everybody thinks they're like the worst team in the league by far.
Yeah.
But I don't think Minshew would fit the category and the questioning. I don't know if that's what you were thinking.
No, I was just trying to think of maybe a player that did almost maybe didn't even live up to the hype of their rookie year, and then it finally clicked.
Well, in a way, DJ Chark was like that last year for the Jags. I mean, DJ Chark did nothing his rookie year. Nothing. It was actually, that's not fair because he was very good on special teams, actually. So from a football standpoint, I think he did more than people would give him credit for. But then, bam, into the Pro Bowl. I mean, that's kind of the player we're looking for. So if you're talking Jags, they had that guy.
Yep.
Who could be that guy this year for the Jags? That's a tough one to answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. But from the NFL perspective, I think you're looking for something like the explanation I just gave with Jordan Love. I mean, to kind of come out of nowhere and take the league by storm.
So to answer your question, Kuz, of going into year 2 is going to be the breakout guy, I'm going with Andy Isabella for a couple reasons. Number one, they got DeAndre Hopkins. So DeAndre Hopkins will command all the attention. He will command the double teams. He will command the top corner spot. You have Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald can play in the slot a lot, a position that Andy Isabella usually plays, but obviously Larry Fitzgerald up there in age. They still want to get him the ball. Obviously, he came back for a reason, so you put Larry Fitzgerald in the slot. That means that Andy Isabella will be the guy on the outside. He will be the guy running the go routes, which obviously that's what he specializes in, and he's going to be doing it against not a nickel corner, not a one corner, but a two corner. So I like Andy Isabella's chances this year to go off.
All right, so there we go. We got a couple of those guys. We'll call them the Killer Bees, even though their name doesn't begin or with a B. But those are our NFL Killer Bees.
There we go.
Murder Hornets.
Murder Hornets. Yeah.
All right, so here's how this came about, and I have to share you. I have to do this. We don't sit here and talk about
first of all,
non-football, sports-related stuff very often.
Yeah, this is crazy we're doing this.
But yesterday after the show, Mike K, what did he tweet at you?
So Mike K, he didn't tweet at me. He just tweeted just in general.
Okay, and but you wanted to jump all over this.
Well, yeah, so it was a video of these murder hornets in Japan. And essentially what they're attacking is a bunch of honeybees. What the honeybees did was they actually formed a circle around the murder hornet and they danced around them. And what the dancing does actually, that it penetrates the exoskeleton of a murder hornet and it cooks them. And the way that, biology or whatever is set up with the honeybees is that their skin doesn't get affected like the murder hornets does. So essentially what you saw was a bunch of bees swarming a murder hornet and taking them out in their own hive.
And so you were about ready to pounce back and on Twitter.
I was going to drop a couple interesting facts on that video.
Because you have some knowledge of this. You grew up on a bee farm.
Correct.
And all of a sudden, Austin is like educating me, and I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
And I said, don't tweet it. Save it.
Yeah.
Because the bee world is a fascinating world.
It definitely is, man. It's crazy. Well,
so I give you the floor. Where are the murder hornets from, and what the heck is going on, and why are they so dangerous?
I mean, how much time do we got here?
It all day, man.
Okay, all right. Well,
the sports world stopped, remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I start from the beginning then?
Yeah, you can.
And go back about 4 or 5 years?
Sure.
To where this all kind of stems from? Okay. So, and keep in mind, this is more of me consoling my grandfather than I know some of this stuff, but obviously I kind of ran it by him a little bit growing up. So, yeah, exactly. So first of all, here comes the real question, Brent. You asked me this yesterday. What's the big deal about bees? Right? Because what's the big deal if all the bees die out? What's the big deal if these murder hornets come in, wreck shop, and all of a sudden there's no more honeybees?
Yeah, because quite frankly, bees annoy me sometimes.
Here we go. If the bees die out with these murder hornets, whatever other kind of disaster happens, $30 billion in crops get lost every single year. Okay? Now, of the 100 crop species in the entire world, 70% of them need to be pollinated. That's where honeybees come in. They pollinate the plants. That's 70% of the crops that get pollinated by honeybees. They feed 90% of the world. So essentially what we're talking about here, Brent, is that if the bees go away and the bees die out, 90% of the food that gets brought out to the whole world is gone. So now we run the risk of, obviously, a global catastrophe where people are going to starve because we lose our vegetables, we lose our fruits, we lose a lot of things, okay? So that's a big deal. So that's why this is important, okay? And that's why honeybees are important because they make our economy go number one, they make our ecosystem go number two, and they feed people. No bees, people aren't getting fed. So let's rewind the clocks back about 4 or 5 years ago. And I brought this up to you yesterday as well, and you didn't really know what was going on, which is crazy, but there was a time where honeybees were dying out. Okay. And there was a time where there was kind of actually a pandemic of why are honeybees dying? Like, I mean, this was on CNN, this was on Fox, this was everywhere. Okay. And this was a couple years ago, keep in mind. And what the belief was that cell phone towers that went up in different states were affecting the honeybees, like the frequencies, and it was driving them crazy and it was killing them. Then there was another school of thought that said, well, it's global warming, right? The bees aren't adjusting the temperatures properly, and this is why they're dying out, So obviously it started to get political. They go back and forth. Why are honeybees dying? Why are honeybees dying? Well, what ended up turning out happening was there was a little parasite by the name of a Vera, I'm not sure I say this right. It's a Vera insect, okay? And this Vera insect, this Vera mite came from Australia, and it originated in Australia. This Vera mite evolved to the standpoint of it attacked beehives by essentially feeding off the honey, and then when you go in the hive, it would plant its eggs where like the bees are being hatched. Now, these little suckers were so like in tune with what's going on with, the world and just nature that they would hatch exactly when the honeybees hatched. So what does that do? Essentially, when a honeybee hatches, the Vera mite attacks the honeybee, kills it, and it kills out the whole hive. Okay, so this was like 4 or 5 years ago, keep in mind. All right, so people are panicking because you can't see the Vera mites. They're super small. They're all over the United States. Colonies are dying off. Honeybees are dying off. What do? The University of Purdue, or I guess Purdue University, you would say, right? Purdue University?
I think Purdue University.
Okay. So Purdue University.
PU or UP?
Yeah, who I guess, yeah, exactly. So Purdue University, we'll just say, who has a very, I guess, in-depth agricultural program. They started to study bees, and they studied bee colonies all across the country.
This is where it gets really cool.
We're talking urban settings. We're talking, in the country, kind of like my grandpa's got, where he's got 20-something bee boxes in the middle of nowhere. They studied everything from across the country. And they realized that, honeybees are dying out, and it's because of these mites. They figured that part out. But what they couldn't figure out is there was 2 or 3 hives out of the hundreds and hundreds that they kind of experienced. 2 or 3 hives didn't have any mites in them. For whatever reason, the bear mites weren't in the hives, and they couldn't figure it out. So they go more in depth with these hives, and they actually put bear mites in the hives to see what would happen when they got in the hive. Turns out that these bees, for whatever reason, evolved so much where they recognized the mite, and they would bite the mite's ankles for whatever reason. They wouldn't eat it, but they would bite off its ankles. In biting off its ankles, it couldn't move. Being it couldn't move, it died out. Okay? So Purdue saw that, and they're like, what we need to do is take the DNA of those bees from those 2 or 3 colonies that we found, and we got to add them to all the other bees. Hence, the ankle biter bee was born. Not making this stuff up, man.
That's fantastic.
Okay? So essentially what they did is they took the DNA, the tributes to those bees, and they put them in a bunch of bees, right? And I remember when this first went down, because my grandpa was obviously worried about this, right? To set the scene, my grandpa's got about 20-something bee boxes. Okay, each box has around 15,000 bees in it. So do the math. That's a lot of bees.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember talking to my grandpa about this when this is going down, and I brought up the ankle biter bee. And he's like, absolutely. He's excited for it. He's going to get him, obviously, and that's going to help the bear might, kind of go extinct, if you will. But I'll never forget what he told me after he had the excitement. Because, my grandpa's kind of old school, but he's very in tune with, beekeeping, but he doesn't have Twitter, he doesn't have Facebook, so he's not on the, the news scale, but he knows bees, okay? And he told me this. He's like, I'm worried about one thing, though. I'm worried about when you mess with Mother Nature and when you add something new to the mix, when you genetically modify bees, usually what happens is there's going to be some consequences. And usually what happens is you kind of upset the natural order of things. Okay, so now it's 2020, okay? My grandpa said that 4 or 5 years ago. All things considered, the bear mites, they're not really a problem anymore, okay? It's all good.
Those ankle biters did their job.
But here's the problem, though. Those ankle biting bees that got added to all the hives to get rid of the bear mites, well, they got a taste for bear mite, okay? So it is super uncommon for a honeybee to go to a different hive, right? Because if they go to a different hive, they die. It's almost like the Bloods and the Crips, man. You come from your hive and you stay in your hive. If you even think about going to a different hive, you're going to get killed. Simple as that, because you don't belong there, right? So what these ankle biter bees started to do is they started to go to hives that were run down and just attack the bear mites and bring them back to their colonies for whatever reason. Essentially what they were doing is they're bringing the bear mites back to their colonies. They're still killing them, but now the bear mites are expanding again. So the ankle biter bee got a taste for these bear mites and decided, you know what, I'm not going to do my job anymore of producing honey and pollinating. I'm going to make it my sole responsibility to attack bear mites. Okay? So that kind of messed up the chain of command a little bit. Yeah. So that whole deal happened. What ended up happening out of that is they created other ways to destroy bear mites, where you can take a bee box, you can add this powder stuff to it. Doesn't affect the bees, but it kills the bear mites. Okay. So simple as that. So bear mites.
Then they can go back to making honey.
Exactly. So bear mites, not a big deal. Okay. Once again, the bees are pollinating the flowers. We got crops, everything.
Everything's good.
Everything's fantastic. Well, straight out of a horror movie. Now here we go.
Murder hornet.
And these are the murder hornets. Okay. The murder hornets started in Japan. And the interesting thing about the murder hornets is, well, a couple things. Number one, they attack colonies. And they attack them in the most vicious way we're talking about. I'm talking Mel Gibson, Braveheart, times 10. Okay? I'm talking about I'm William Wallace, and I'm going to kill you. What these murder hornets do is one murder hornet will get a kind of a vibe on a hive or on a colony, and he'll put out a pheromone, which is kind of like a scent, right? Murder hornets, within miles of the area, will smell that and come aid the other murder hornet. So essentially what you're going to have is you're going to have 50 murder hornets attack one colony. The problem is that these murder hornets are big in stature, and they're big in size, and they're hard to take down. And what they do is they actually eat the heads off of honeybees. They'll eat the heads off honeybees, and then they'll go take them back to their babies and feed them to their own colony. I saw somewhere where it said it can take a murder hornet, like a group of 50 murder hornets, it can take them like 3 or 4 hours to disrupt the whole colony. Oof. Keep in mind, that's 15,000 bees, man. Okay? So now here's the crazy thing.
By the way, they're like 7 times as venomous, right?
Exactly. Well, that's another thing, too. So in terms of the human thing, yes, they're called murder hornets, right? So you should be worried if you're a human. And I asked, my grandpa talked about this as well. My grandpa's been stung by honeybees, realistically, probably over 200 times. At least. I mean, he gets stung. It is what it is. He said that he's very worried, though, for these murder hornets in the standpoint of a honeybee stinger is 1.5 millimeters. A murder hornet's is 0.2 of an inch. So essentially, you're dealing with a stinger that's about 4 to 5 times as big as a honeybee's. So just do the math.
Yeah.
If you've ever been stung by a bee, that hurts. Times that by 5, 6, see how that feels. That's what you're doing with a murder hornet, okay? Here's the crazy thing, though, and here's why it's bad for honeybees, obviously. The murder hornets have somehow found their way over here. Once again, you can say it's probably from shipping containers, something like that. Whatever the reason is, I don't think it was an act of terrorism or anything, but the murder hornets have now found their way to the States.
They came from Japan?
Japan, correct. Yeah. So people are worried now, obviously, because once again, it's just like the Varromites, where if they kill out these colonies, it's going to hurt the honeybee population, population. You can't pollinate. You can't pollinate. You don't have crops. Here's the crazy thing, though. So there's 2 kinds of bees right now in the world. There's the European bees, which are in the United States. They all migrated from Europe. And then you have these Japanese bees, okay? The Japanese bees are the video that Mike K posted of these Japanese bees get in a circle, they dance, and they take this thing out.
With the heat.
Yeah, exactly. There's videos right now in the States of honeybees approaching a murder hornet, and they don't do that. They try to sting the murder hornet because that's kind of like their natural defense mechanism. When they feel threatened, they sting you. Unfortunately, their stinger cannot penetrate the exoskeleton of a murder hornet. So now what needs to happen is they have to somehow take the DNA of Japanese bees. This is crazy I'm saying this. Take the DNA of a Japanese bee and implement that into the bee of like the European descent in the United States. Because the United States bees do not know how to handle murder hornets. When the murder hornets attack their colony, they're going to try to sting them. And it's not going to work. Number 1, you're going to sting them and they're going to die. But number 2, it's going to do nothing. So what the honeybees need to do here in the United States is try to, obviously man up and start dancing around this murder hornet to cook them and kill them. But they don't know how to do that. So that's why it's crazy right now from the standpoint of in Japan, they're okay. Like their bee populations are going to be fine because for whatever reason, they've evolved to the standpoint of they know how to kill a murder hornet. The honeybees in the United States do not know how to do that.
Huh. How pervasive do we know as the murder hornet? It's obviously starting to make waves, so they've got a bunch of them. It's not like 3 have landed on a crate that came over from wherever.
Yep.
It's a big problem. Grandpa nervous about this?
I think he's more nervous about getting stung actually right now than his colonies even.
They say it can kill a person, although very unlikely.
It's super unlikely.
They have to be provoked, and that's what I read on it.
It's super unlikely. The biggest thing now is to see just how bad the infestations are going to be. Like how many murder hornets will there be? Because like I just said, scientists in Purdue or wherever have not come up with a way to stop these murder hornets in terms of colonies, right? And it took them a while, like with the Varromite, like I talked about, to create that ankle biter bee. That took years, okay? Now, the cool thing about that was the fact that the Varromites, they're small in stature. Yes, they take down colonies, but they weren't like migrating at an alarming rate. If these murder bees come in and just start sweeping out colonies and the bees can't defend themselves, well, now you have an issue, right? Because scientists have to come up with a way to stop this, and it could take a couple years, if that. So,
man, fascinating.
It's crazy, man.
We just spent 20 minutes talking about bees.
And I heard...
How are those ratings looking right now?
Probably awful, but I don't care.
All right.
I thought it was fascinating. You keep seeing the headlines, right? We have it on CBS 47 and Fox 30, and everybody's talking about these murder hornets. And then we got talking about it for 5 minutes. I was like, I'm all in. I'm all in on the bees. Yeah. I think it's fascinating.
I heard in Japan they're like a delicacy, too.
Yeah, people eat them as well.
The murder hornets.
Yeah. Which, to each their own.
The bottom line is right now we're rooting for the honeybees.
You have to. I mean, if you want to keep sustaining food and feeding the world, you need honeybees to do it. So, yeah, absolutely. You're praying that the scientists can come up with a way to counter the murder hornets, or else you can figure just if nature can somehow prevail and the bees get it ingrained in themselves to fight back, well, then you're all good. But right now, the bees in the United States have not shown to do that.
It's a serious thing, but not to make it light. We are a sports show. The murder hornets are essentially the New York Yankees. we need them to go away.
So what you're saying is we all need to dance around the Yankees.
Yes, yeah. We need them to go away.
Well, you know what?
They did have Murderers Row back in the day, but they are the Yankees in my mind.
Well, in my mind, too, like, those bees in Japan, they're like Jean-Claude Van Damme in, like, Bloodsport, where we need to bring those bees in Japan over here to teach the European bees that are in the United States how to fight, man. Like, we have to open up a bee dojo, if you will. I'm serious, man. Give these honeybees a chance. They're all white belts, man. I need black belt honeybees, not white belts.
I'm going to be honest, with how little sports we've seen, I bet if someone filmed a murder hornet versus honeybee video fight,
big TV ratings.
People would watch that.
It'll last 3 seconds.
Listen,
well,
we watched a giraffe give birth to a giraffe for like a baby giraffe for about 4 days.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good
point.
point.
It had millions of views. So this could be, you might be onto something.
Yeah.
How does PETA feel about the bee stories?
Well,
not sure.
It's a good point. You know, I mean,
Is that
I
in
feel
their jurisdiction?
I mean, they're all in on all animals, but like the murder hornets do nothing. You know, like they're not good. I mean, I guess, you know, if people in Japan are eating them, so be it, but they're not good.
By the way, this was just a show and tell. You think Austin Lane's just a guy from small town Wisconsin, Murray State, played football, dumb jock guy.
You're right.
Fights for a living.
Yeah.
And how about the bee knowledge? That was really that's just for your resume tape right there.
Well, that was just a Saturday growing up, man. That's nothing crazy for me. But yeah, thanks for letting me speak on bees, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean,
like I said, I was entertained.
I'll tell you what, if one person will be entertained, my grandpa's going to be super pumped if he ever listens to that.
I was going to say, we're going to need to get your grandpa up on the technology. I know you said he's not, but I'm going to need a live stream of this bee fight now.
He can't. Yeah, there's no way that's going to happen.
All right, you guys are going to have to send me up there. I'm going to send a bee fighting ring.
He doesn't even have Wi-Fi, first of all, so that's going to be an issue, but...
Bees it is something that a lot of people don't understand, right? Because it looks like why would you have like a bee farm? Like why would you put yourself around? But it is a fascinating process. I knew someone back in Rhode Island that did the same thing, and it was I didn't have the knowledge of that, but I was like, they loved it. Like there's a passion for it.
Well,
right?
It's crazy. So I posted a video of my grandpa, working with the bees probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it was kind of back when, the height of the panic of are the bees going to die? And I posted it on Twitter. And I just said, hashtag save the bees. This is my grandpa's farm. And, dude, the reaction I got off of it from just random people on Twitter, it was insane.
Really?
They're like, thank you for doing what you do. I'm like, okay, first of all, it's not me. I couldn't do anything. I have no idea really how to manage that. But I mean, there is a subsection of people out there that are really into this kind of stuff.
Absolutely. No, I agree.
Probably
I found
listen
that out
to our
too.
show, but yeah, it is what it is.
Now they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Every day at 4 o'clock, a bee update coming up on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. All right. Hey, be like Mike is a thing. When I say be like Mike, you think Michael Jordan.
Correct.
Who would you rather be like, Mike Jordan or Mike Tyson? Next on ESPN 690. Is it a no-brainer? I got some thoughts about it. Next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly to at times, mostly cloudy today and quite warm. A scattered shower or two developing with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Turning much cooler tonight, dropping into the low 50s. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30. Action News Jacks from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Did you have to postpone popping the question because of the COVID crisis? Get 5 years, 0 interest now at Beards Diamonds.
Hello?
Hey, boss, how's it going?
Hanging like a hermit.
I hear you. Hey, how's your mom doing? I know you're worried because she lives alone and all.
She's good, thanks. Every night she's getting dinner delivered. And every night she answers the door with her SafeTouch security app.
Ah, no contact delivery.
Yeah, and SafeTouch cameras are encrypted with all kinds of safeguards.
Yeah, you don't see headlines about SafeTouch systems getting hacked.
Exactly. Can't believe I'm saying it, but I just feel better knowing she has SafeTouch. She's got her emergency buttons, her two-way communicator, the guaranteed response time.
Boss, sounds like you have a love-hate relationship with SafeTouch.
That's complicated. Because being crooks and all, we still gotta stick to the Crooks R Us motto. Stay away from SafeTouch houses. Yeah, the struggle is real.
Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of SafeTouch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call SafeTouch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Corolla for $199 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. How about a Toyota Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021? That's a pre-owned Camry for $249 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see him today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
As the virus creates more questions, you need a voice you can trust. At Action News Jax, we put truth over hype.
We want to try and put your mind at ease.
Our team of reporters, dedicated, researching, constantly pushing for answers, talking to doctors, scientists, and experts, so you're informed on the local impact. Because the more you know, the safer you'll be. Watch CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax. We are Jax in this together.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Call Zero Res. They are offering to clean and protect every surface in your home for 25% off. Also nominate a family in need, and Zero Res will clean the carpets in one home each day for absolutely free. Zero Res spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Take a breath. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. Things are changing, and change can be difficult sometimes. Change in how we live our lives, how we run our businesses, our jobs, our kids, our schools, our neighborhoods. But this is Jacksonville, and you won't find a more dedicated, compassionate, and caring community anywhere. From Nassau to St. John's, from West Side to the beaches, God knows we can weather a storm, and we can get through this as well. All of us at Community First realize that no one has all the answers to what we're facing. But after more than 80 years in Jacksonville, we do know this. Things get better when people stick together. So that's what we'll do. And we'll get through this to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
When you think about your AC system, do you think cool, clean, efficient air? Or maintenance, costly repairs, filters, refrigerant, wear and tear from our extreme Jacksonville temperatures, year-round humidity, and salty air? You know that most of the time, AC ownership is anything but stress-free. That's why Wakehoff's AC offers stress-free AC ownership. For a low monthly cost, starting at just $100 per month, you get a brand new efficient AC system with a smart thermostat. All of your repairs are covered with both parts and labor at no charge. Wakehoff's is going to conduct all your maintenance visits for free, keeping your system running cool, efficient, and clean. And they'll even take care of all your filters. Starting at just $100 per month or just $155 a month for the highest performing system. Imagine a brand new efficient system. No cost repairs, no cost maintenance, no cost filters, no stress. It's the stress-free AC program from Wakehoff's. Call them today, 880-5525 or wakehoffsac.com.
These can be unsettling times, but CGC Water Treatment wants you to know that they are there for you and your family. CGC Water Treatment has 50% savings for you. Purchase a Premier Softener and save 50% off a K5, Connecticut's premier reverse osmosis system. When the shelves at the stores are empty, it's a great feeling to have purified water right at home. Call 904-694-2242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent independent Connecticut dealer.
Where is this water coming from?
Who will deliver us lunch?
Why is the air conditioner blowing hot air?
Where can I get a tire fixed?
Do you know someone who can get marker stains out of the carpet?
What do we need to do to get the pool ready?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax. Out of sight, out of mind still holds true. When things disappear from your day-to-day life, you think about them less and less. This includes your business. Yes, things are difficult, but if your customers aren't thinking about you now, how can you be sure they will be when this is past? At Cox Media Group Jacksonville, we make sure they will. We'll help you stay on the mind of your customers and even get into the mind of some new customers. Contact CMG Jacksonville at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
Hey, Jacksonville, are you ready for some good news? Right now, you can score tremendous savings during the construction sale at Arlington Toyota. You choose 0 down with low payments or no payments until 2021. Now that's huge. Get to Arlington today, where you can drive away in a Toyota RAV4 XLE for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. That's a pre-owned RAV4 for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments until 2021. How about a Toyota Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. That's a pre-owned Tacoma for $285 a month with 0 down or no payments till 2021. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And you get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy on any vehicle you purchase. As always, your safety is Arlington's priority. So go see them today, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com. May offers for full details.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. All you got to do is say Amazon Echo, Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy that succulent sports coverage.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I think so. I think there are a lot of pieces in place for that team to be good and surprise some people. I tried to build a winning culture the best I can, and some of those young guys, they were really buying in and developing, going through their growing pains, and some of them are becoming older and wiser, and so the team's in good hands. It's just a matter of time.
That, of course, is Calais Campbell, now the Baltimore Ravens, former Jacksonville Jaguar, talking a little bit about the Jaguars and their team. And, by the way, big congratulations to Calais. Him and his lovely wife had their first child yesterday, baby boy.
Nice.
7 pounds, 5 ounces. My first reaction was like, that's it? I figured when Calais said baby, maybe it would be like already a starting center.
Yeah, forget like the little blanket. Go ahead and get that baby a beach towel, you know what I'm saying, to wrap him up with.
Of course, that's not the case. 7 pounds, 5 ounces. He texted me a little bit. We were going back and forth, and it was really pretty cool. He's like, "This is the best day of my life."
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Think about that guy's had a lot of good days,
Yeah.
And he said he's got long limbs, so he says he's going to be a good athlete.
I like it. Maybe play some basketball or something.
And so cool, overjoyed for Calais and his lovely wife, and
congratulations.
How much I did it. I put it on TV last night, as I had heard, and then I texted back and forth with Calais about just congratulations, and it was interesting, right? I said to myself, I'm not sure. First of all, when even current Jags have babies, kids, I don't know if we put that on TV a lot. I don't know if we bring it up a lot. And definitely if former Jags, I don't think we do. So again, I admit to my bias with Calais Campbell, but we also got quite a bit of response about that. And I just think that's how Jacksonville feels about him.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter he's wearing a Baltimore Ravens uniform anymore. It doesn't matter that for the first good chunk of his career, he wore an Arizona Cardinals jersey. That's Calais Campbell. He feels like he's Jacksonville's, and I think he always will be, and people want to know about him and stay tuned and root for him. And it's a fascinating relationship with this city, this fan base, and Calais Campbell.
Listen, it comes back to the old school quote, where everyone gets what they earn. Okay, and we talk about Calais Campbell and the reason why I think this fan base in Jacksonville, and I'm sure the fan base in Arizona, are still rooting for that guy. It's because he was a true professional, not only on the field, but off the field as well, right? Like, you never had one bad thing to say about Calais Campbell. So when that player leaves, 9 times out of 10, it's like, oh, well, good riddance. You're not on the team anymore. We'll see you later. You're like, I'm going to delete you from Twitter. But with Calais Campbell, he's an exception, man. He's an outlier because of everything that he's done in the community, the way he represented the Jaguars, the talent on the field you couldn't deny. So with that being said, I mean, Calais Campbell has done it the right way where, yeah, he goes to new cities and makes fans, but guess what? He keeps the fans from the old cities.
All right, a couple things to get to, and we'll maybe hear a little bit more from Calais Campbell. Once again, congratulations to him and his family on the little guy. That is awesome. We have senior shout-outs that we've been doing for the kids in town that aren't celebrating their senior years like normal, and it is time for our latest senior shout-out, and that is to Antonio Colon from Creekside High School. Michelle and Joe are Antonio's parents, and the message is, Antonio, we're so incredibly proud of you and all of your accomplishments. Once this pandemic is over, we will celebrate you in the style you deserve. Committed to college? Yes, he is. The Citadel to play some baseball, support of the very good baseball program down at Creekside High School. Congratulations to Antonio Colon, Mom and Dad, Michelle and Joe, and thanks for sharing that shout-out with us and all of Jacksonville. You can do the same for your senior. Go to ESPN690.com and fill out the necessary information so we can give your son or daughter a shout-out here on ESPN 690 from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I do remind you as well, it's a separate thing, but we're also doing this on the TV side, and I think these students have earned that. And we're proud to be able to do it. And any way we can celebrate this 2020 class, we're going to do our part if we can. You can send them on the TV side to sports@actionnewsjacks.com. And, of course, you have to send a picture, too, for the TV side of things. But more than willing to give a shout-out to your senior on CBS 47 and Fox 30. We started that this week. We'll be doing it throughout the month of May. But they are two separate things. We won't see what's in the ESPN690.com file, or ESPN 690 won't see what's technically in the sports@actionnewsjacks.com file. So while you're doing it, just do both. Sports@actionnewsjacks.com with a picture, and go to ESPN690.com, and we'll give a senior shout-out right here on the show.
I like that, man.
Hey, you know what else we have to do? We have to give away a Metro Diner gift card.
Let's
do that right now. Hey, Kuz, how many phones do you want to answer today?
Well, we did. I feel like if we're following the trend, we're at 6.
Well, what's May 6th, though? We had the May 4th for Star Wars. Yep. We had May 5th for Cinco de Mayo.
Isn't today officially the start of Nurses Day? So that can count.
Isn't it? Remember the Sith or whatever? Is the 6th? It's another Star Wars thing.
Yeah, no, but
the 6th.
But I think also, like, it's today, like, kicks off nurses. Like, I think it turned into a month, but it was supposed to be, like, a week thing.
Really?
Revenge of the Sith,
I did not. Well, then let's do it.
May the Sith be with you.
For all the frontline workers out there.
Revenge of the 6th.
Let's go.
6th. I don't know. Sorry.
Boy, how about we just give away Metro Diner gift card? How about that? Yeah. Let's do that right now. Well, let's make it caller number 6, 904-362-9901. Here is your chance to win a $50 gift card to Metro Diner. And you have a couple more days, by the way, to get your orders in. Ready to heat brunch, lunch, and dinner meals like a meal lover's casserole, roasted turkey, or pot roast. And you can pre-order through Friday. That's coming up Friday. Pick up Friday, Saturday, or Sunday just in time to celebrate Mother's Day, of course, this weekend. But a $50 gift card to Metro Diner will help you out with that. 904-362-9901.
It is Revenge of the 6th.
Revenge of the 6th. So here we are. Yeah. Caller number 6 right now. You can call star 690 as well. It's the quickest way to dial in, and Kuz will have a winner shortly enough. Brent Martin, Austin Lane, Kuz. We've talked about bees. By the way, I have science teachers all over the area calling, and they would like you to speak to their class either on Zoom or whenever they get back to normal.
That's what my grandma used to do, actually. When I was in grade school, she would come in and, like, talk about bees, and then at the end of the day, obviously, then you get ice cream and honey. So, like, I mean, it made it all worth it. Because, like, we do honey, we do maple syrup as well. So, like, we're, big into maple syruping, so she would come in and talk about maple trees, too. So.
There you go. You're going to be that guy.
I know.
After
I'm going to be that guy.
people listen to this, you are that
everybody
guy.
brought some ice cream and maple syrup. You guys excited?
I'm telling you, he's the most unique guy around. I mean, NFL, MMA, honeybee expert.
Honeybees, man. Let's go. And you know what's cool? I got positive feedback too, which makes me happy, man.
I'll read you what I got.
Yeah.
This is from my guy, Front Porch Kettle Corn. Corn from the Dream 18. Remember that?
Yeah,
Fantastic,
Yep,
okay?
Yep.
So he said, that might have been the best non-sports segment I've ever heard. Fascinating info.
There
Tell
you
Austin,
go.
good job.
Cool,
See that?
man. Right on. I'm glad somebody's entertained.
Hey, listen,
So.
we talk sports all the time.
Yeah.
I try not to venture into the music world too much.
Sure.
When we were talking about this after the show yesterday, I'm like, save it for the air.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated.
And I thought you were kidding.
And I don't care if anybody else is fascinated or not in this one. I'm going to be selfish.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I had fun. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
It was really good. Thanks to Grandpa and, for all the institutional knowledge as well. All right. The Last Dance has been something.
It has.
Right? I'm finally caught up. Kids are all watching. Everybody loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And we relate so many of the things that are going on to what's now. We had the conversation earlier a couple of days ago about branding.
Correct.
I do want to get into the conversation in a little bit about athletes and their social responsibilities, because that comes up in the latest segment or this past weekend with Michael Jordan. And we talked briefly about it, but not enough. I got a couple more thoughts on it. But I also thought about this. Mike Tyson's been in the news recently. He's 53 years old, and if you've seen the videos, he can still move like a son of a gun.
Still got it.
I mean, and so wasn't there something going out there, like would you get hit by Mike Tyson in the chest or something for
like
$50,000?
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I would say probably not.
I mean, if you're contemplating it, I'm here to advise you. There's easier ways to make $50,000, Brent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he could kill me.
Don't do that. Yes, he would kill you. I mean, kill anybody. Like if he hits you in the heart, thanks for playing. Have fun.
No,
we'll
I
see
don't
you
want to
later.
do that.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that.
I'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
So I got thinking about Mike Tyson.
Sure.
Mike Tyson is one of the most fascinating athletes of all time. And he's not up there, by the way, in the good guy category and who you'd want to be and your role model and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's a couple of different ways I thought about it. Be Like Mike is the Gatorade commercial, and it made Michael Jordan even more famous than he already was. And it's awesome. It was awesome at the time. And it still kind of resonates. It's pretty cool. But if you look at Jordan right now, somebody brought this up to me. They texted me. They said, Jordan looks miserable. He looks bitter. Mm-hmm. He looks, in this whole documentary, he doesn't look like he's at, he doesn't look, I don't know if I felt all of that, but I will say he doesn't come across as this peace with everything, happy-go-lucky guy after all this success.
I'll say this, though, too. It's a little peculiar, and granted, we still have a lot of episodes to go, but, like, he was so worried about coming across in a bad way. And so far, from what I've seen on the show, I haven't seen anything that would warrant, like, wow, I can't believe Michael Jordan did that. Like, what an a-hole. I haven't seen any of that yet.
Well, I think what he's talking about is more Clyde Drexler comments.
Okay. Well,
Isaiah Thomas
he did punch
comments.
his teammate, too, which I'm sure they'll get to as well.
Well, all those kind of things. We're like a little bit more than halfway through, and he's throwing people under the bus. He's told how he feels about people.
Sure.
I mean, he has no love lost for Isaiah Thomas. Obviously, whether it's Krause or
he has respect.
He does.
Yeah.
But so I think what he was saying is like, hey, I'm gonna tell people how I really feel, and you might not like that.
Yeah.
And at least so far. But somebody did bring up, is like, does he look like he's even happy? And you wonder that in some of the episodes. He's so popular. He's got all this fame. Was he really even happy? He's in the back room with security, and that looks like he was the most happiest playing quarters against the wall.
But you ever notice, like, he's with his security, though? He's not with his teammates.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He even says it during the one thing. He's like, hey, everybody thinks this is the greatest life, but I'm locked in this room on the couch smoking a cigar.
Don't worry, man. Like, I walked away from that episode where he talked about, like, this life isn't for everybody, all that stuff. I walked away from that episode thinking, like, wow. I mean, as a kid, yes, I wanted to be like Mike, and, like, he was my idol, and he's still one of my biggest idols to this day. But as far as living that life, there is no way. I would never trade places with Michael Jordan for all the money in the world.
I have said this prior, and again, I'm not talking about, you got to be always careful when you mention Tim Tebow's name. But Tim Tebow around, and you saw it firsthand at Senior Bowl and other places.
Yeah, who you telling,
but
man?
But Tebow during those days in 09, 10, probably even 11,
it was the Beatles.
It was like I had it described to me as the Beatles. Yep. It was the only way they could describe it. Whether going to restaurants in the back doors and trying to, whatever it had to be, because it looked like what this Jordan documentary looked like. Now, I'm not telling you he was bigger than Jordan, but the Tigers of the world, the Jordans of the world, nowadays, because of social media, and I mean, whether it's actresses, musicians, it is a lifestyle that is envious to some, but I'm not sure you really want to be there. And do you ever get at peace with it?
Look, did you see it today? Adele tweeted out, it's her birthday, so she just tweeted out a picture of herself, and she lost a lot of weight. Now she's getting hate online saying, well, she shouldn't have lost all that weight because now she doesn't look healthy and stuff. Like, you know what? Listen, I'm going to offend somebody, I'm sure, listening on Twitter, but the girl lost some weight, okay? And I'm sure she set a goal during this COVID-19, and she achieved that goal. She looks fantastic. Good for her. Let's celebrate that. Don't worry about the whole body image thing of she should be happy with the way she looks before. I don't care, man. Just celebrate her just achieving a goal.
Yeah.
That's where we live in now.
That's where we live in. And Jordan didn't even have to live in that.
No, can you imagine?
He didn't have to live in that.
Can you imagine if Twitter was around when Jordan was around?
Well, how many casinos would there have been video of, or whatever it might have been? Who knows?
Yeah.
Would he have been as clean, in that respect? I don't know. That's again. I think that LeBron James has had to deal with that kind of stuff in this modern way that others didn't have to, and I think that's why I respect LeBron James a lot. I think he's done a really good job of handling a lot of it. So anyway, I'm thinking of Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
From an athlete standpoint, Mike Tyson is unbelievable. I mean, it's amazing, right? Even at 53.
The next time you talk to Tom Lazinski, they call him Milo at the stadium, the guy you just interviewed, ask him about his story with Mike Tyson at an AU tournament.
I wish I had. I just talked to him on Sunday.
Yeah.
And now I wish I had a Zoom call on.
So, real quick story. So, Mike Tyson, because if you know the story about Mike Tyson, he got started when he was like 13 years old. Milo said that he actually saw Mike Tyson at an AU tournament for like 15 and 16-year-olds, and he said he saw this 13-year-old kid who was boxing in this tournament, and nobody obviously knew who he was. But the kid just obviously knocked out everybody. And then Milo at the end of the story goes, you know who that kid was? I'm like, I have no idea. He goes, it was Mike Tyson.
That's awesome.
So that's insane. Yeah, so next time you talk to him, man,
I will have to ask
make him tell that story. Yeah.
So I'm looking at Mike Tyson, and I'm looking at Michael Jordan. Mike Tyson in these videos, all these years later, still kind of packs a punch. He's got quickness. He's got a little gut on him now, right? A big gut on him, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe after all that CBD and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He looks like he's happier in life.
He's killing it, man.
Than Michael Jordan is.
He's killing it. I agree with you.
He looks like he is at peace with who he is and where he's at after jail time and all the controversy.
Yeah.
And a guy that did go through a bunch of controversy. And here you have Michael Jordan, who really didn't go through controversy.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't. I mean, he was this mega star, but Mike Tyson was a mega star too. And I look at him now, and I'm like, wow. Like, would Michael Jordan trade places with Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
That is asinine to think.
Yeah.
But would he?
Well, you asked the question to our listeners as well. Who would you rather be right now? Would you rather be Michael Jordan or Mike Tyson? So now when you preface this question, Brent, I mean, you mean their entire career, right? I mean,
I think in totality.
You have to include the trials and tribulations. And it's funny because you ask that question and immediately I'm like, yeah, Michael Jordan, duh.
Absolutely.
Do you have any more brain busters? But then the more that I think about it and the more that I dwell on that documentary and the more that I followed Mike Tyson's career to this day, and even getting a chance to speak with Mike Tyson last year at the Jaguars Thursday night game, which was an awesome experience.
That's right.
Okay?
I kind of forgot about that.
I probably spoke with him for like 2 minutes, and it wasn't about getting pictures. It wasn't about like, hey, guess what? I met Mike Tyson. Check me out. Dude, I want none of that. All I wanted to do was go up to him and say, man, you're like the baddest guy on the planet. I'm a fan of what you've done. I'm still a fan of what you do. And I just want to say thank you. And that's all I said to him. And he was very appreciative and he was very cool to me. We talked about Eben Britton a little bit then, obviously, after that, my former teammate.
They do a podcast
together. His co-host on the podcast. But the more I think about it now, Brent, and let's be honest, let's set the scene of Mike Tyson real quick. You had a guy, like I just told the story with Miles singing with the AU tournament, who started out when he was like 13 years old. Guy was a kid, man. Okay, guy was 13 years old. Well, what 13-year-olds these days are playing video games, making YouTube videos, all that stuff on Twitch. Mike Tyson was one of the baddest men in the world at that age already, okay? So as that goes on, he's a young guy, and you know what? He gets taken advantage of, I think. Whether it was by Don King, whether it was the people around him, they set him up to fail, all right? They almost promoted him like this sideshow freak show where it was like, come watch this boxer knock everybody out, but you know what? We're going to get over one on him when it comes to the finances and things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Mike Tyson was never a perfect guy, man, okay? Mike Tyson's done some things in his past, in his life that are bad.
Well,
okay?
listen, it's part of the package. It's
bad, exactly, that I'll never agree with. But we're talking about where Mike Tyson stands right now to Michael Jordan. I would honestly take Mike, and this is crazy to say, I would take Mike Tyson's life over Michael Jordan's, because here's why. Yes, Mike Tyson spent 6 years in jail, and I have to do that myself. Okay, 6 years, that's a long time to spend behind bars, man, and that's crazy. But you know what? If you look at the evolution of Mike Tyson, going from the guy who said, I'm going to eat your kids, and all that stuff, look at him now, Brent. You're talking about a guy who put himself out there in a one-man Broadway show. Mike Tyson had a one-man Broadway show. 2.5 hours of just Mike Tyson on stage talking. And you know what? He crushed it. HBO even got the rights to it and showed it all over HBO. Like, it's an entertaining show, man. And it's a one-man show. Mike Tyson has his own show on Adult Swim Cartoon Network called Mike Tyson's Mysteries. I love that show. It should show you how crazy that show is because I love it. It's absolutely insane. He has a ghost friend. He has a pigeon friend that talks. It's the most bonkers show you're ever gonna see. Check out Mike Tyson Mysteries. But you know what, man?
Surprising.
But I love it. And guess what? There's people out there who never knew who Mike Tyson was from the boxing world, but they know him from Mike Tyson Mysteries on Adult Swim. This cartoon, right? So I think you look at what Mike Tyson's done now, and he's got his own weed farm as well. I'm not saying I would dominate that and be all excited for it, but it's more income, so it is what it is. But you look at Mike Tyson and the way that he's evolved. You look at Mike Tyson and how he always has a smile on his face. And the way people approach him, man, there's always a sense of fear of Mike Tyson because the guy can knock you out any second. But people embrace that guy. People want to be around him. With Michael Jordan, man, it's still the fact, wow, it's Michael Jordan. There's this big aura and this prestige around him. Mike Tyson has that too, but he's so much more personable, man. So I think the evolution, of the athlete, I'm taking Mike Tyson all day.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting fully there. Yeah. Okay, I raised the question because it just is interesting at 50-something years old, after all you accomplish, you'd hope somebody would be happy. Now, I'm not assuming Michael Jordan isn't happy at all.
Sure.
It just doesn't look that he's really in love with his life now. And it's part of that is because you have such a small circle. And Tyson is a small circle. Hey, if this money's a deciding factor, Jordan's worth $2.1 billion.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson's only worth $3 million according to the internet now.
Yeah.
It made more than $300 million at one time and lost it all. And but again, money doesn't always buy you happiness. I think my mom once said.
You better believe it. Smart woman.
$2.1 billion, though. I might take the risk. When we come back,
I can only imagine you gambling in Vegas too.
How much? We're gonna go. What's the ideal schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars? But also, how much responsibility do these mega athletes have from a social standpoint to take a stand like Michael Jordan did not? Talk about it a little bit more next on ESPN 690. Our normal way of life has been changing quickly due to coronavirus. New rules to follow, and basically all sports have been put on hold. Heck, you might even be working from home. Hey, everybody, it's Brent Martineau. If you're not in the car from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m., check in on Action Sports Jacks on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
Hello?
Hey, boss.
Why are you calling me?
Well, I was going to come over, but I thought I should be practicing social distancing.
Oh, that's responsible of you.
Thanks. So I'm calling because I want to read you this new article in the Crooks of Us newsletter.
If it's about Safe Touch security, I don't want to hear it.
Boss, you'll want to hear this. The headline reads, Safer at Home with Safe Touch Security.
Safer at home with Safe Touch?
Yeah. It says, with people staying home more than ever these days, Safe Touch Security is the answer for peace of mind at home.
Yeah. The guaranteed response time, the two-way communicator, the video monitoring.
Yeah, and more.
Great. So what you're telling me is, whether they're home or not, the Crooks of Us motto is stronger than ever. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
It's written in stone, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Chronic or acute pain doesn't just disappear during a crisis, and neither does Cora Physical Therapy. Throughout this time, Cora remains dedicated to your health and safety. With 15 Jacksonville area clinics, Cora Physical Therapy provides quality care wherever you're most comfortable. In clinic, where we disinfect after every touch. Telehealth gives you remote access to licensed therapists, or Cora therapists will even come to you. We are grateful for our patients' trust and our clinicians' bravery. What matters most is your health. So Cora provides care anywhere you prefer it. Learn more at coraphysicaltherapy.com.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. 511 Tactical, House Bright Exterior, Riptide Motorsports, Old City Marine, Up the Gutters, Presto Plumbing. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence, or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit, guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
In these unpredictable times, one thing you can always count on is Navy Federal Credit Union. Our dedication to our members and employees has been going strong since 1933, and we're here today with the services you need to keep yourself financially steady, like refinancing your auto loans to reduce your monthly payments and get cash back, or the ability to manage debt with credit cards that have no balance transfer fees and low APRs. And if you're thinking about savings, we have accounts with rates that are twice the industry average. As always, you can access and manage your account 24/7 from our mobile app and our website. There are a lot of unknowns these days, but one thing you can always depend on is our commitment to serving you. Anytime, anywhere, because we know our members are getting ready for a better and brighter future. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA, message and data rates may apply. Results of Navy Federal's 2018 member giveback study.
Pros. Lowe's wants to help you keep working. That's why we're open for pro business hours 6 to 7 a.m. Monday through Saturday. You'll find the quantities you expect with dedicated pro associates and loaders to help you get what you need fast and load you up curbside. Now, more than ever, we know you need to win every single bid. You can count on Lowe's for special values on pro-trusted brands and savings when you buy in bulk. Save yourself a trip by shopping Lowe'sForPros.com, where we can ship thousands of items to your doorstep or to the job site. Lowe's is open and pro-ready.
At AutoZone, we've always been here to help you get what you need to go where you need. That hasn't changed. In need of an oil change? Right now you can get 5 quarts of Castrol GTX high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need something fast, you can get it fast, your way. Whether it's next day delivery or free same day pickup, in store or curbside, the choice is yours. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions and details on AutoZone.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yeah. You know, the meetings already, you know, just from virtual meetings, you can tell there's a different aura about this place. You know, I mean, the guys just, you know, that play like a Raven, people take it to heart. And there's definitely a standard that is set there that came from the people that came before me. So I'm looking forward to putting my hand in the pile, you know, and trying to play like a Raven the best I can.
I hope Calais Campbell plays like a Raven the best he can, but it still hurts to hear. How good are the Ravens going to be?
I think solid. The roster's coming back. You know, they essentially only lose Hayden Hurst. The question comes, though, and it's the same question that stemmed from the Los Angeles Rams taking on the New England Patriots a couple years back in the Super Bowl, is did the Tennessee Titans finally figure out how to beat the Baltimore Ravens? Now, with that being said, I think the logical answer would be yes, absolutely, because the Titans showed that if you obviously play that zone coverage, take away the middle of the field, make Lamar Jackson beat you on the outside, they didn't have the tools to do it last year. Now, you have Hollywood Brown going into a second year. I always say you make the most progress going into your second year. So one would say Hollywood Brown is poised for a big year. One would say right now that their offense has been upgraded a little bit. So with that being said, I expect the Baltimore Ravens to try to pick up where they finished off last year and be successful again.
I look at Baltimore and I see a team that could be Kansas City in terms of knocked on the door. I look at Baltimore and I look at a team that could be, we might figure you out a little bit. You know, they are what the NFL is. They could certainly be that. They could be high flying in the team like the Jags in 2017, and then I don't think they're going to fall back that far. They have too much talent for that. But it might not go as swimmingly and smoothly as it did in 2019. You got to get lucky in this league. And from injuries to people figuring you out to being a little bit ahead of the curve, were the Baltimore Ravens a bit of that. From that standpoint, how much could the Jags surprise people this year in scheme and philosophy only? See, I've been around for a dozen years, and the Jags have been a team that wants to play defense, likely wants to run the ball because they've had decent running back, or they've had very good running backs, and then I don't know where you want to classify some, but I would say at least decent at the worst end. But they've had Fred, they've had Mojo, they've had Leonard Fournette over the years. I mean, that's a team that wants to run the ball, they want to play pretty physical, but they have been less than dynamic in the passing game. They have been less than dynamic at the QB position. They arguably have been less than dynamic at the offensive coordinator position. I think they bring a guy in Jay Gruden who wants to be pretty dynamic.
Very creative,
and
yes.
They have some parts that could allow them to do at least more of that than they've done. The question is, will teams figure that out? Will teams kind of scout the Jags, look at the Jags first of all, say, okay, well, not one of the best rosters in the league. That's one thing. We know. That's fact. You wouldn't rank them in the top half of the league in terms of rosters. But they would also be, well, the Jags are this kind of team. You know, the Jags they're gonna play pretty good defense because we still all have 2017 defense, 18 guys in our mind, even though that's all been washed. And I know what the tape will say and the roster will say when you get into like the weekly planning. But I still think there's this mentality that people have about you as a football team, even if you're preparing for that team in a week. I've said this a lot about the Titans. I think people look at the tape of the Titans and be like, kind of what I feel about the Titans, like, I mean, it's okay, but it doesn't wow me.
Yeah.
And then you get in a football game and they beat the hell out of you for 60 minutes. And you're like, how did we just lose to that team like this?
Yeah.
That's what happens. Well, I wonder if the Jags could be a little bit like that. But that's not the team that we've faced for the last dozen years.
Yeah.
They got a guy running around back there. They're throwing it 35 times a game instead of handing it off and just pounding it and playing play action all the time.
Yeah.
They're mixing up with a 3-4 defense and a 4-3 look. This isn't a simplistic defense now that we used to be able to attack and know where to attack. They're actually disguising some things. Could the Jags surprise some people in that respect?
Without a doubt, for a couple reasons. Number one, Jay Gruden, right? We've talked about Jay Gruden before on the show where his MO is to spread the ball around the field. Right? So with that being said, yes, DJ Chark is the one receiver going forward, but guess what? D.D. Westbrook's going to get a lot of looks. Chris Conley's going to get a lot of looks. Chenault's going to get a lot of looks. Like, he is going to spread the ball around, you know? And when you can do that, that gives you the benefit of game planning against who you're going against, right? Like, for instance, if you're the Houston Texans, you're throwing the ball to Hopkins, okay? Like, that's what you did last year. It doesn't matter who is covering him. It doesn't matter if it's double coverage. Like, Hopkins 9 times out of 10 is getting the ball. But what you have with the Jacksonville Jaguars is, yes, you have the Pro Bowler and DJ Chark, but you have a wide receiving core who is relatively maybe unknown a little bit, maybe unassuming, but they can all get the job done. And when you can do that and then you combine it with Gruden's psyche of spreading the ball out, you can do a lot of interesting things. To me, the biggest thing that the Jacksonville Jaguars have done this offseason of getting them ready for maybe some new looks on offense and try to give defensive coordinators nightmares is that they were not able to trade away Leonard Fournette. Because I think if they were able to trade away Leonard Fournette, well, then what do you have in the backfield, Brent? You know, who you bringing to the table? You're bringing Rock Armstead, who is essentially unproven. And if I was a defensive coordinator, I wouldn't stack the box. I would say, you know what? Rock Armstead doesn't scare me. I'm going to let Gardner Minshew try to beat me. You know, and I'm gonna ease guys off a little bit. I'm not gonna blitz that much. I'm gonna see if Gardner Minshew is in fact the real deal, just like the national media wants to see right now, right? Just like everybody wants to see. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I do the exact same thing. But to me, ironically, the X factor is, and this guy's only gonna be here for one more year, is Leonard Fournette. Because Leonard Fournette, regardless of if you're a Jaguars fan, what you think about him, when you're sitting in those defensive, meetings, those defensive coordinators at the board, I guarantee you when they talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, Leonard Fournette is still a game wrecker, and you have to address it. So now you have Leonard Fournette, who you have to account for. That opens things up for Gardner Minshew. So to answer your question, Brent, can the Jaguars be more dynamic? Can they be kind of take teams by surprise a little bit? Absolutely, because I think teams are underestimating Gardner Minshew, number one, and number two, they think it's going to be the Leonard Fournette show once again.
Yeah, and if you think I'm a little crazy in the questioning, I understand it. It's like, okay, Brent, well, by the time they play him in October, they'll have seen tape, they know who they are, all this stuff. Yeah, but there's always this mentality. There's this subconscious, and that's what I was bringing up with Tennessee. I also bring it up because Calais kind of brought it up with Baltimore. Baltimore, what do you envision? You envision smash mouth football.
Correct.
You envision this tough Ray Lewis type. Ozzie Newsome built this team. They're physical. They're going to beat you up in that AFC North. Well, they didn't envision a guy that could be electric. They didn't envision Hollywood Brown that could beat you 80 yards down the field. And that's really what became dynamic for Baltimore last year. People didn't expect it. They didn't really, yes, you put Lamar Jackson in a 40 time, they understand he's fast, but are they really going to unleash it? You know, if you look at New England, what do people give New England credit for? Well, they got Belichick, so they're going to figure out a way to win games. You see what I'm saying about the subconscious of teams? That happens. I'm not saying all teams have it, but a lot of teams do. Well, guess what the Jaguars have? Guess what the Cleveland Browns have? We're going to do a schedule thing in a little bit. And as you write Cleveland down, you're like, oh, it's Cleveland. No. That's not the Cleveland you've known for 15 years. Cleveland now becomes one of the most dangerous teams offensively in the NFL. On paper, they are.
They should be. They're pretty dangerous last year as well.
I get it.
Fair.
But I'm just saying, it's not the Cleveland. We would say, oh, Cleveland, okay.
Easy win. It's not that anymore.
It's
no,
not
even close.
But the Jags are that.
Yeah.
The Jags have been that. That's why the Jags maybe took some people by surprise in 17 because they finally did something, even though they looked like they might have some talent. There's not a lot of trust that the Jags can do that. And that's why I think they have a little bit of a sneak-up ability, if you will, in the NFL. The Jags could possibly do that. Now, does that mean they're going to go to the playoffs? That means they're going to win 12 games? No. But it's unusual to have that in professional sports. And I think the Jags might have a little bit of that, especially in the first half of the year.
Let me ask you this, though. Like you said, we're going to break down the schedule we think is going to happen in a little bit here. But as you go top to down for the teams that the Jaguars play on the road and at home, what teams can you heartily look at right now on paper and say, oh, yeah, that should be a pretty easy win for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Well, to be honest with you, the way the Jags are built, I don't think it's fair to say that that's easy for any of them. Mm-hmm. I do think Vegas is a little crazy by saying they're an underdog in every game. I would say if I look at the Detroit Lions, I think you got one heck of a fighting chance to beat the Lions. They were 3-13 last year. I think if you look at Cincinnati, you got a heck of a chance to beat Cincinnati. If I look at Houston and Tennessee and even Indy, and Indy, by the way, I think is the best team and the hardest team to beat on paper right now. But if Phillip Rivers isn't that good, I can make a case for it. And going back to my subconscious, the Jags have always played well against Indianapolis. As much as they haven't played well against Tennessee, and we're all in our own heads about Tennessee down here, well, we feel differently about Indianapolis. The Jags, even when they haven't been good, have performed well against the Indianapolis Colts. So I just gave you, maybe 5, 6, 7 games that I could see. Now, there's a lot of coin flips in there. But let me answer the other side of your question because I think that's what you're getting at. I view 4 games that I would say, listen, Brent, you are about as sunshine and rainbows as you could be. You believe in Minshew. You believe the roster's a little bit better than people think. You believe some of this philosophical and scheme change might work more than people think. But you're out of your damn mind if you think they're going to Green Bay and winning in Lambeau Field. You're out of your dang mind if you think they're going out to West and beating the Chargers because you can't play out West. I mean, what is there to give me confidence that you can play out west? And I know the quarterback situation doesn't scare me, but the rest of that roster is pretty dang good. I go to Baltimore, I say, come on now. You're in a different league than Baltimore right now.
Calais Campbell getting ready to leave something fierce.
It's a different. I can't sit here and tell you that I feel good about them going to Baltimore, and I'd give them a chance to win right now.
The way Brent's talking right now, no drug test for Brent Martineau today.
Not today.
Yeah.
And then the last one I put in that category, believe it or not, because I think on paper they've been a very good team. They've proven it. They don't get the they probably don't get put in that elite categories of the Green Bays, the New Englands, the Ravens even now, or the Chiefs. But Minnesota's been a very good team. Yep. To put the Jaguars to go on the road at Minnesota and think they'll win that game, I think even with all the sunshine and rainbows and positivity that I have, I don't think so. I can't say that. So I've identified 4 games where I really think it's hard to figure the Jags will win. The Chargers, Baltimore, Minnesota, and at Green Bay. And Green Bay could really depend on what time of year it is, but still, at Green Bay is at Green Bay, and that's going to be a difficult one. So I say 4 games that, man, you can roll that ball out there 10 times, and I'm not picking the Jags to win. I won't. All the rest, I could talk myself into it. Let's see how the teams are playing. Nobody scares the heck out of me that much. But there are some tough games. I mean, listen, Cleveland's offense can be dynamic. Pittsburgh's defense, and if Ben Roethlisberger comes back, heck of a tough matchup. But don't you feel good about the Jags against Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Right? Another one of those teams that you feel pretty good about. So, and Tennessee, listen, I'm never gonna respect Tennessee the way I should. But until the Jags can beat Tennessee and prove that they can beat them, that's a problem spot around here.
Yeah.
So anyway, to answer your question, I think there are 4 games that I would say, nah, I don't think so. But I also think there are 3 or 4 games that I feel really good. Oh, Miami's on that list, by the way, as well, that I feel good about. I just don't think the Jags are getting enough credit against teams like that. Miami, Cincinnati, Detroit, and even some of their own division games that the Jags are going to win a couple of division games, even at worst. They'll win 2 of them. I don't know if they can get 3 or 4, but I don't think they're getting swept, and I think they win more than 1.
See, when we're talking about the most ideal schedule here for the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is what drives me crazy. We kind of talked about it before the show a little bit. But I can sit here and say the Jaguars should have a really great chance of beating the Miami Dolphins, okay? Because are you going to have Fitz magic? You have Tua? We don't know yet, depending when you play, obviously, and stuff like that. But the Dolphins, you can easily beat them, and I can understand that. But to sit here and say, and obviously the Bengals too, new quarterback Joe Burrow, you had a good chance of beating the Bengals. You did it last year. Okay, great. But to sit here and say, for instance, last year, okay, the power rankings. Ravens were, I think, 22nd.
Yeah, you said that.
In the preseason.
That's wild.
Okay. San Francisco was even higher than that. Okay. So.
They were 3-13 the year prior.
Yeah, no, for sure. And who was number 1? The Patriots.
Of course.
Okay. I think Titans
Patriots
were
probably number 1 this year.
I think the Titans are 24. So my point is, I can sit here and say, well, I hope the Jaguars schedule works out like this, but I can't sit here and honestly say, I don't know how the Chargers are going to be this year. Okay? On paper, Tyrod Taylor does not scare me. Okay? And I probably would have told you last year, on paper, Teddy Bridgewater for the New Orleans Saints coming in does not scare me.
True.
You know what, though? He scared a lot of people. He scared the Jacksonville Jaguars. He won the ball game. So I can sit here and say, yes, these games, some of these games, and I get it's the West Coast, but the Chargers, should we be scared of them? I don't know, man. But all I know is every single year, there's always a constant of the fact that teams are going to surprise you. Whether it's the Chargers, whether it's the Browns, there's going to be teams on this schedule that you think are going to be easy pushovers, and spoiler alert, I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen.
Yeah, because listen, it's a league where 6 teams don't make the playoffs from the year before. Mm-hmm. People make fun of and talk about mock drafts, stupid exercise, grading the draft, stupid exercise. You want to know what the most stupid exercise really is?
What we're talking about right
Predicting wins and losses in the NFL. Because we know it's a league that changes. It does exactly what you just said. The top teams sometimes finish in the bottom. Yeah. 6 teams that made the playoffs a year prior always are out. Yeah. We have no idea. It's the league of parity most of the time. Yeah. And yes, with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick against a weak AFC East, you could predict that they would go pretty deep. They would be pretty good. Can I predict with the Chiefs offense, and people still can't match that on paper, it's a video game, that they're going to be at least pretty good even if things don't go great? Yeah, probably. Yeah. There's some of those teams. But in the middle of all that, there are all these teams that nobody knows what's going to happen with, and that's the nature of the NFL. This really could be the dumbest exercise we do all year, is trying to predict wins and losses.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's fun.
No, that's what we do in sports radio. And it's funny because when I came in here and we're talking about draft grades, I said I don't believe in draft grades. I think it's a stupid thing because the players haven't, got on the field yet. And you told me to get off my high horse. Talk about a high horse here. We're trying to give you what we think is going to happen in the season with the record, and we have no idea what these teams are capable of. Like, will the Texans rebound with losing Hopkins? You know what, Brent? Seriously, and you say it, and obviously injuries are a big thing. But if that Texans receiving core can stay healthy, and it's a big question mark. But if they can, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. Why wouldn't they be successful? And guess what? You just upgraded at running back.
If they click on offense, it could be good.
So why wouldn't you be optimistic about that? You know what I'm saying? So it's hard, to say, well, that's a win. Number one, you don't know. But number two, it's just you see on paper the rosters, and it's not what you think, man. It's always going to surprise you.
All right, coming up here in just a little bit. Not going to break just yet, but coming up, we're going to continue a little bit of NFL schedule talk. I have one question. What game would you like to see in prime time, if there is one? Which of all of them? Not the Titans.
I mean, I'm going to say.
Yeah. Not the Titans. Yeah. Titans are not allowed as an answer.
And trust me, my fingers, I don't want to say my fingers are crossed, but if the Titans Thursday night game happens again, I got some videos already chalked up ready to release.
I bet you do. You already did one a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I've got 2 fake schedules that I made up. I think you have one ready to go.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah,
Kuz is going to
done.
put them out there. Hopefully, if we can do this in the next 20 minutes or so. But we're going to get a look, and we'll keep it going all the way through the night and into tomorrow. What is the ideal schedule for the Jags? Would you sign up for any of these? And by the way, we kind of just we're taking guesses here. No idea. You can help shape the schedule too. If you had your pick, if you could make it for the Jags, would you put division games later? Would you put a lot of home games early? Would you put the softer games, at least that looks like, early? How would you do it? So we'll get to that in just a couple minutes. I want to get to this topic. Again, a little bit Last Dance related. In The Last Dance, Michael Jordan talks about social responsibility.
Yeah.
They bring you back to 1990 and the political ramifications and how he did not get involved in that and said Republicans buy sneakers too, which, by the way, is a fantastic line, especially if you're in business.
Yeah.
But he no doubt cared about his branding on the court, his game on the court, and his branding and dollars off the court more than making a big stance one way or another that was going to ruffle feathers, part of being clean. Yeah. If he doesn't do that, does the Be Like Mike commercial ever get made? Because now you're stepping into a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
How do you feel about players that take stances, don't take stances, but especially when you reach iconic stage like Tiger, like Muhammad Ali, like Michael Jordan, those kind of guys? Is it their responsibility to do so?
It's only your responsibility if you believe in it. Okay. I watched, last Sunday those 2 Last Dances, those episodes, and a big thing I took away from Michael Jordan saying, like, he didn't want to be political. All right, he didn't want to play that game. He wanted to focus on basketball. It made me appreciate LeBron James even more. Okay, like, and Brent, you're on the LeBron James bandwagon, man. You've been spearheading that thing now for the past year and a half. You're a big LeBron guy, as am I. And I think when you look at LeBron James and the landscape right now of professional sports, what that dude's been able to do with his platforms, Brent, and to remain squeaky clean of all the Twitter hate on him and just all the media. I mean, dude, I don't want to say it's Michael Jordan-esque, but James is a big guy, man, right? Like, he's a big deal. And he's used his platform for very righteous causes, right? And I come from the standpoint of, if you do that stuff, fantastic, man. Try to make the world a better place, make it a better place walking out than when you did going in. I'm all for it. But it has to be genuine, because we also live in a society, and let's not lie to ourselves here, we live in a society where we do nice things. We volunteer. We give to charity, but we do it so people can see us do it, right? Yeah. We do it so we can post it on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook because we crave the attention.
That's why I do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Brent's really taunting himself right now.
No, but what I do say about this now, just got a little footnote there. I say, I don't care why you do something good at the end of the day, but you're right about that. Yeah. But I also don't care why you do something good if you did something good.
No, and here's the thing, though. you can do something great, okay? And you can want all the accolades that can come with that. You can make it known to the entire world, like, hey, look what I did, now praise me. That's fine, because at the end of the day, you know what? You still made a better difference for the good, not for the bad. But not being genuine, Brent, it doesn't give you the motivation to keep pressing forward. You do it once, and that's it. It's hard to motivate someone when their heart's not into it, okay? So that's like with LeBron James, man. He's building schools. He's helping inner cities. He's bringing, obviously like the whole racial awareness and social justice to the limelight, okay? He's doing all that. You know why he's doing that? Not because so he can get some more Twitter followers, not because he can go on, CNN or ABC, talk to Barbara Walters. No, man. He's doing it because he believes in it. And when you believe in it, man, that makes all the difference in the world. So once again, I don't fault Michael Jordan for not taking a stand on politics, for not taking a stand on social issues, because his heart wasn't in it, all right? His heart was in basketball. Fantastic, Michael Jordan. You know what? Good for you for staying true to yourself. That's a teaching lesson all in itself. But if there are athletes out there that want to, get involved and want to, bring their passion to the forefront, then by all means do it, man. Just make sure it's genuine.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you in the sense that I don't think these guys have to do it, because then you're putting on a show. And you're doing it because some PR person told you to do it, and you don't feel it, and it's not genuine. And that means you can't defend it if things go wrong, and you can't be passionate about it. And I think sooner or later that shows up if you really don't really want to do it. So this was a huge criticism of Tiger Woods. He had global icon status, and he did not get involved in those things. And did he do it for selfish purposes? Probably. Did he do it because he was 19 or 20, 21 years old, too? Maybe.
It's a lot to ask of a 19-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And could he have changed more? Yeah, probably. But Muhammad Ali was so great in that sense that he almost made it unfair for all these others that have followed.
Well,
because now everybody has been, not everybody, but those kind of players, especially the minority players, African-American players, have been tasked with that responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think, if it's not in your DNA to do it, don't fake it. That's the big thing for me, because it will get you in trouble down the road if you don't really feel it, if you're not willing to take the risks.
Yeah.
LeBron is cool like that. I don't necessarily think you have to agree with everything LeBron does, but he's also not afraid to put himself out there a little bit. And he's made enough money, and he's going to always have money, but it's about legacy and things, and he's a pretty squeaky clean guy. Stays out of the papers for the wrong reasons, those kind of things. But he's not afraid to go out there. So he feels it. He feels it. It's authentic. It's genuine. And I think there's something to be said for a guy that does do it. But I got no problem with someone who doesn't.
And here's the problem, where if you do it, then you're going to have followers. And you're going to have followers who are all in with you. And if you're not genuine, if your heart's not into it, then you're lying to people, right? You're leading this parade where they're all buying in, but you're not buying in yourself. Like I compare it to like Colin Kaepernick, okay? Think whatever you want about Colin Kaepernick, and people can say it was a ploy by Nike to try to generate more money. I'll tell you what, though, Colin Kaepernick's still out in the streets making his community better. Colin Kaepernick's still donating a lot of money, a lot of his time and effort. It's one thing to donate money. Everyone's got money, man, but to donate your time and effort. So that leads me to believe that Colin Kaepernick actually believes in his causes. And guess what? We saw it firsthand, Brent. When the whole Kaepernick thing went down, when he took a knee, there was two sides to it. There was the side that was all in on Colin Kaepernick. There was the side that was on Facebook saying, yes, Colin Kaepernick, you do your thing, bring awareness, please keep doing you. And you know what? And they suffered some ridicule. And then there was the other side that said, what is he doing? He's desecrating the flag. He's not an American. He should be ashamed of himself. And I'm not going to say which side's right or wrong, but all I'm going to say is there was a line on the sand, okay? And the people that followed Kaepernick, well, guess what? They're going to follow him to the end of time now, man. All right? Like, he made that much of an influence. The difference is, what I'm trying to say is, he was genuine about it. He was passionate about it. If you're going to lead a cause, if you're going to be passionate about something, then be passionate about something. But don't have a facade. Don't say, well, I'm going to do it because it makes my PR look good. You don't want to do that, man, because people are going to follow you, and it's going to be for the wrong reasons.
And Kaepernick, by the way, could discourage a lot of people from doing it going forward because the ramifications run deep.
Yeah.
The risks are deep in doing that. But I also think part of the reason Kaepernick has not been back in the NFL, part of it now, might be some of his own doing, might be some of the teams in the NFL doing. We can debate that as well. But I think part of it is because he probably still feels like he will take a knee. He will continue that protest if he were to come back. And I'm not sure teams are comfortable with that answer, you know? So it's not like, hey, okay, I'm moved on. He's not willing to do that. So from that standpoint, he probably still believes in that cause. It makes you wonder this, too. See, Kaepernick is, from a celebrity standpoint, he's now huge, but this made him huge. It wasn't the NFL that made him huge. I mean, he was already big. He was big enough because he's a quarterback in the NFL.
was a platform.
It was a platform.
Mm-hmm.
What if LeBron James had done it?
As in, like, take a knee?
And what if LeBron James had spearheaded the Kaepernick kind of movement?
Yeah. I'll say this right now, it'd be a very different world that we're living in.
You wonder.
I think it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or would he have taken a big hit? You know, would the Lakers be willing to sign him? Would all those things? I don't know. You just don't know. I mean, that's an unanswerable question, really.
Yeah.
What the ramifications would have been. I also say this: if I was a PR person, you better really believe in this day and age, because
people will call you on a second.
Well, the polarization of our politics right now, even. It wasn't like that when Jordan was coming up. You know, even when Tiger was coming up, it wasn't this polarizing.
Yep.
So you really better believe, because everything's going to get political in one nature or another.
How ironic is it, man, that we live in 2020, and as far as an athlete, your causes, sometimes you can't even be yourself because you're afraid of the social interaction with it.
And it comes back to money at the end of the day. A lot of it, image, money, legacy, family stuff, things that you have to put up with and not just concentrate on the sport. It brings in a whole different realm. No doubt we saw that a little bit with Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. We come back, talk a little bit more Jags. Hey, who would you name captain of the Jags? And also what a schedule could look like for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is just guessing now. It's on ESPN 690 next.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Warm temperatures this afternoon will cool off quickly tonight with clearing skies, dropping all the way down to between 50 and 55 by morning. Mostly sunny and breezy tomorrow. Highs will only reach the mid-70s, near record lows in the 40s inland tomorrow night, and then Friday will be partly sunny and pleasantly warm with highs in the low to mid-80s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
Weather is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Right now, get 5 years, 0-interest financing on anything in the store. Beard's Diamonds.
Chronic or acute pain doesn't just disappear during a crisis, and neither does Cora Physical Therapy. Throughout this time, Cora remains dedicated to your health and safety. With 15 Jacksonville area clinics, Cora Physical Therapy provides quality care wherever you're most comfortable. In clinic, where we disinfect after every touch. Telehealth gives you remote access to licensed therapists, or Cora therapists will even come to you. We are grateful for our patients' trust and our clinicians' bravery. What matters most is your health. So Cora provides care anywhere you prefer it. Learn more at coraphysicaltherapy.com.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small, but businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Beard's Diamonds, Appearance First Automotive, Under Pressure Sales, Lulu Grace Designers, Mayport CNC Fisheries, Red Boat Tours. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
Do you hear something in the attic?
Where do you want to eat tonight?
Why won't the lights work? Where should I take my car for engine work?
Do you think I need to get this spot checked out?
Where did these bugs come from?
When are we going to paint the house?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim, Client Relations Manager here at Reliant. Reliant has always been focused on the customer experience. Reliant has been a leader in the industry when it comes to using technology to connect with our clients whenever needed. So while everything around us continues to change and other contractors are scrambling to adapt to the new normal, Reliant remains steadfast, ready to serve our clients. Our client coordinators are available to discuss your roofing, solar, and hurricane shutter projects, so give us a call today.
Where is this water coming from?
Who will deliver us lunch?
Why is the air conditioner blowing hot air?
Where can I get a tire fixed?
Do you know someone who can get marker stains out of the carpet?
What do we need to do to get the pool ready?
These and hundreds of other questions are still being asked daily. Will the answer be your business or your competitors? Don't leave it to chance. Let Cox Media Group Jacksonville make you the answer to their questions. Contact us at 245-8732 or email buildjax@cmg.com and let's build Jax.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is a CMG Open for Business report. During these changing times, it's challenging for businesses across North Florida, big and small. But businesses are adjusting to meet your needs in a safe and comfortable way. Here's today's list of businesses that are open for you. Flying Iguana, Co-op 303, J. Turner & Company, Florida Eye Specialist, Insurall, Green Iguana Bath. If you're open for business, let us know by emailing us at openjax@cmg.com. Together, we're getting through this.
Tire Outlet, the local name in tires that you know and trust, is now offering mobile installation. Tire Outlet mobile installation is safe, no hassle, quick, and same day at your home or office. A Tire Outlet professional will bring and install your tires right on site while staying safely distanced. The only thing easier than getting new tires with mobile installation is making the appointment. Call 904-600-0089 to reserve an appointment. Tire Outlet is part of the First Coast community and is in this with you.
Hello, I'm Chuck Barnes. At Barnes & Cohen, we're pulling out all the stops to protect your health and ours. We have the latest software that enables our staff who are at high risk to work remotely without sacrificing first-class representation. Our offices remain open. We have a sanitized conference room, but maybe your best option, meet us here in our courtyard. Barnes & Cohen will continue to serve you in the safest way possible.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Suddenly, if the NCAA no longer is a governing body, does that mean we're going to let Georgia and Florida make their own decisions for everything they want to do as a school, while we let Texas and Oklahoma make a different set of decisions? And then how will we keep any sort of a standardization through it? And when tough issues come up, who are we going to blame? There's got to be somebody. Like, we talk about Roger Goodell all the time, but the best thing about Roger Goodell with the NFL is that he makes us forget that ultimately the owners make these decisions. We don't ever blame the owners because it's so much easier to blame Roger Goodell, the very person that is paid for by the owners. And there's a scapegoat.
That's Jason Fitz. You can hear him 1 to 3 p.m. First Take Your Take right here on ESPN 690. And he usually joins us weekly here at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays. Jason Fitz talking about college football versus the NFL there in that respect. And college football right about now, are they missing a commissioner more than ever? Yeah. Right about now? Or will it benefit them to be able to kind of go rogue if need be instead of one governing body? I think that will be a very interesting thing as we look at the college football side of this as we get closer and closer to the fall. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Wednesday edition of Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. You okay?
Did you see what the Chargers did with the Jaguars?
What'd they do?
Scroll over then.
That's Miles in those putrid mustard.
Scroll
beauties.
over.
Pop-Tarts, toasted, frosted bruised banana.
They just released
flavor.
that. Yeah. Because of like their opponents or whatever like that. So they're making fun of the jerseys as Pop-Tarts.
Interesting.
And needless to say, the Jaguars did not get a compliment from the Los Angeles Chargers.
I wonder what the Jaguars will have, because the NFL, I think, encouraged this for a time. Remember, that's how DeAndre Hopkins is your daddy. Stuff with Jalen Ramsey came about, and then they didn't like it. All of a sudden, then they wanted to shut off because they became buddies, Ramsey and Hopkins. But it started because when the NFL released its schedule, I think it tasked teams using a baby theme. And so that's how it started. There was another theme recently,
what do you mean? There was tons of themes. The Jaguars last year, remember, it was like the game show with Josh Lambo and Scobie.
That's right.
Man, it was like an infomercial kind of thing. Yeah.
What would you theme it this year? If you could set it up.
That's a great question.
On-the-spot question.
I mean, it's got to be like Tiger King, right? Like, it's kind of like the easy answer. I feel like it's pop culture. I forgot all about that. Like, are we going to see...
Are we doing food and breakfasts?
Well, especially like, with times like this, though. I mean, can you do like those crazy creative things? I assume so. You know, it doesn't take that many people.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm excited
they're going
for that.
with breakfast cereal, like food.
Well, this is what the Chargers were doing. We'll see. Yeah.
Well, they all would have to do it. Like,
no. Remember last year?
You
was
get to
completely
pick
different.
your own.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because last
it
year
wasn't
like,
across the board. Everybody did
no,
babies.
Last year was like I think the Panthers were like the video game, like the Techno Bowl. The Jaguars were the infomercial. Like everyone had their own little thing.
That's right. Okay.
Their own little niche.
Good reminder. Yeah. So, well, then you're right. Maybe they're doing this. I wonder if they will have that this year.
Yeah.
I wonder amidst all this other, there's been so much other stuff going on, the creativity, did they lose a little bit of that in the last couple months because of COVID-19 or not? Or did they have more time to think about it?
Yeah. But needless to say, like it sucks though, right? Because the Chargers making fun of the Jaguars jerseys. And what are we going to say? Like, have you seen those Chargers jerseys?
I know.
I'm not.
Of course,
I'm not
those are
mad
all
at
jerseys,
them.
but yes.
Yeah, but still, like, what are you gonna say about the Chargers, man? Is there anything more frustrating when a team claps at you, you can't clap back because you got nothing for them?
Yeah, that's the worst.
Like, what are you gonna say? Happen with Tyrod Taylor? I guess I don't know.
I once tweeted the Atlanta Hawks asking if I could be their social media manager, and they responded no, and so many people started like trying to back me to be the social media manager for the Hawks that they blocked me.
There you go. That's a win.
I took it as a win.
It is a win.
All right. If you get one.
You could have told me that you want to do that because I know the media relations guy for the Atlanta Hawks.
Can I get him blocked?
I used to do. I'll talk to him. I used to do blogs for him actually when I played for the Jaguars. Long story short.
The primetime games has not been a thing here in Jacksonville a lot.
Who you telling, Brent?
They have they usually get one Thursday nighter. Even coming off the 17th season, I think there might have been two primetime games.
Yeah.
Still, it's been Monday.
Well,
and then it got flexed. It got flexed. We got 2 and it got flexed.
Steelers, right? Jaguars,
I
Steelers.
don't take this as personal as other fans. Fans
Why,
love the
man?
prime time.
Why though, Brent?
I don't. I just don't.
But it's good for the city. Like, you should take it personal. And listen, don't get me wrong. Do the Jaguars deserve a primetime game this year? Well, every team gets one. But do they deserve more than one? I'd probably say probably not.
By the way, there was a thing before where it used to be every team had to have a Thursday night game. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
Every team gets a primetime game, I believe.
Yeah.
I just think, listen, it's good for the city. Okay, it's good for the city. It's good for getting the brand out there. Like, you should want to have primetime games here. You should take offense to it when primetime games aren't brought up. Just like you should take offense to it when the Jaguars have a draft pick and it goes to commercial. Just my opinion.
Yes.
I'm serious. No, you think I'm kidding, but I'm actually serious, though.
When are we going to get a tough-minded group around here?
When we start getting some respect, I guess?
I mean, this is why we can't beat the Titans. This is why the Titans kick our ass.
Is this just why Dana White called us weak?
Yeah, maybe. But why don't you want respect, man? Like,
because I don't think playing at 8 o'clock versus 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock is respect. No.
You don't think a primetime game, the only game in the NFL at night, whether it's Monday, to put the Thursday away, but whether it's Sunday night or Monday night, you don't think that makes a difference between viewership, between branding?
Oh,
it absolutely does, Brent.
It does make a difference, but you can argue around here, man. It's hurt to the Jaguars nationwide. They've sucked it up so many times on prime time that they get the label, or they get the freaking Titans game all the time.
Listen, I'm not saying the Jaguars deserve 5 primetime games because they don't after last season. All I'm saying is that if you're a Jaguars fan, you should be upset when you have one Thursday night game against the Tennessee Titans. If you're a Jaguars fan, you should be upset when they cut to commercials because, in my opinion, it's disrespecting the team. And I guarantee a lot of players in the locker room would agree with me.
That's that diva player mentality right there coming out.
No, man, it's just, hey.
It's like I want to do my sack dance in prime time for all my buddies in California to see.
Please forgive me for wanting the best for the city that I live in Jacksonville, Florida. Please forgive me that I want to put Jacksonville, Florida on the map, and I want the entire country to take note. Sorry for wanting that. My bad.
The entire country took note in 2017. Why? Not because they played in a primetime game, because they won freaking football games. Win at 1 o'clock, win at 9:30 in London, win at 8 o'clock in Nashville, Tennessee. Just win football games, and then we don't have to worry about this.
Agree or disagree, man?
Anyway, which game would you like in primetime? I give you one because we know we don't get more than that around here.
Who you telling? Which game do I want in prime time? Good question. Well, obviously I want a home game, right? I mean, that's the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
After that little rant of yours, you better get a home game now.
So what game do I want? You know what?
There's some beauties on here, by the way. You got Green Bay. You have Pittsburgh.
No, but it's a home game, though.
I'm sorry,
Green Bay.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
yeah.
Would you take Green Bay on the road in prime time?
Obviously, Brent. We're going to do a little tailgating in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying?
But do you think that has a chance actually if you talk about profile,
sure,
and prime time, you talk about at Green Bay, Lambeau Field, go beat Aaron Rodgers' butt, up there, That's a nice little victory.
Nice little victory, nice little vacation for us. I'm going to go with this one though. The Cleveland Browns at home. I like that for a primetime game. Baker Mayfield, the guy's everywhere. You got a high-powered offense, supposedly, with the Cleveland Browns. A lot of known players, obviously. And, you got Gardner Minshew at home. I like the Browns for a primetime game, if I had it my way. Now, you know dang well the NFL is going to shove the Tennessee Titans down our throat for a Thursday night game. Brent's going to actually celebrate it because he doesn't care about the city of Jacksonville. So he's probably going to get on his sunshine and rainbows and be like, oh, hey, Titans, sweet, come back to Jacksonville. I like it. And I'm going to absolutely lose my mind over this, but it is what it is.
No, I don't think I can't say the Titans.
Say it right now. Say you guarantee the Titans and Jaguars will not be a Thursday night game.
I hope not. If I have to see Steve Lehman on another Thursday night, I'm going to be really pissed. But our buddy from Nashville,
he's a good dude.
Comes on. It's a great thought, though. I don't know if I want the Jags at Lambeau. I don't think they do that, first of all.
It's going to be Bears at Lambeau or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be something more like they have so many opponents that are going to register,
exactly.
if you will.
Yeah.
But Pittsburgh, again, man, to rekindle that thing, to go back and show 2017, them beating them twice, to go back and show 2007 and what they've done in the past against Pittsburgh, what they did on a Monday night, I think, with Rasheed Mathis, if I remember correctly, with the pick. I think that game would be valuable in prime time. Now, what Jags fans will be afraid of if fans are allowed in is seeing, again, Pittsburgh, who travels well everywhere, Pittsburgh infiltrating the stadium here in Jacksonville, and I think everybody will have a complex of, hey, look how many Pittsburgh Steelers fans there are in Jacksonville.
What about this one? This actually could work to the Jaguars' benefit. Dolphins-Jaguars. I'm talking like week 1, week 2. I'm talking later on in the season when Tua could be the starter. Because now you have Tua Tagovailoa, young promising quarterback. You have Gardner Minshew, young promising quarterback. State of Florida. There's some storylines there.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Especially it's a team that you can probably beat.
Like you're saying, the Cleveland thing is interesting. It's not going to – if I'm an exec, I'm not looking at Jacksonville, Cleveland, even with Cleveland, some of the talent and Minshew.
And maybe especially in Jacksonville,
does
too.
Does Minshew help?
He should. I mean, if you're going to trot him out there with Uncle Rico, for NFL Network, absolutely he should help.
I would think so.
Absolutely.
Listen, if we're being completely honest, Jags have very little marketability in terms of their players. Very little. Give me a star.
I mean, I'm going to say Josh Allen, but the world doesn't know Josh Allen yet.
This is not a knock against him. I'm just saying outside of the city limits.
Yeah, I know.
Give me a star outside of Minshew. Minshew is the only guy. The only one. And you're right. Josh Allen, yeah, a little bit.
But it's also the same name as the Bills quarterback, which I can't stand.
We're overlooking the fact that Fournette is more of a star than anybody around here actually wants to admit. But he still isn't, hey, NFL, this is Leonard. I'm putting special opens and all this stuff around Leonard Fournette. Yeah. No, Minshew is the only guy that's marketable on this team from that standpoint. Now, they have such young players. That's part of it.
That's why I
DJ
need
Chark
primetime
could become
games,
that.
Brent.
Josh Allen could become that.
That's why I need primetime games, Brent.
You're not alone in that thought because I've talked to Calais about this and others, and they believe it. Yannick Ngakoue believes he didn't make Pro Bowls sometimes in the past because he wasn't on prime time enough.
Look no further, Brent. You said it's just win games, don't worry about it. Guess what? The Jaguars in 2017 went to the AFC Championship game. Do you know what percentage of the country could pronounce Yannick Ngakoue's name? A very small percentage.
Yeah, about 8. What's the percentage in Jacksonville?
A very small percentage. But that's my point, man. Like, you saw him for a couple. You saw him against the Patriots. You saw him against the Steelers. But nobody still knows who these players are, Brent. That's why I'm so adamant about getting the Jaguars primetime games. It helps.
Yeah, you are.
It helps.
Hey, look at your uncle just chimed in and said, wow, Austin just destroyed Brent in his primetime game argument. How can you say primetime games aren't important for exposure? I didn't say they weren't important for exposure. I know there's more eyeballs on it. Ask Josh Scobie if he liked that exposure up in Pittsburgh. There's more eyeballs on it. I understand it. I'm just saying I don't care about him as much as you do.
I mean, you kind of called me soft a little bit. You did some of that stuff
soft.
too, but
Well, we are.
Let's Twitter.
No. You're soft in the sense that you don't get enough of them. You're soft in the sense that you go to commercial every time the Jaguars have a draft pick.
Brent,
that's soft-natured.
Dude, I'm not soft. Okay, man. Listen, I said my piece about the commercials, okay? I think it's disrespectful because this isn't a fact of, the Jaguars aren't a good football team. Well, guess what? We know that. That's why they have 2 picks in the top 20. So reward us, put us on TV so we can talk about the Jaguars getting better. They didn't do that. And I'm not soft because I want primetime games here in Jacksonville. Once again, I just want it for the city, man. It's better to have primetime games than not have primetime games.
Yeah, I guess.
But I'm soft.
A little bit.
But I'm soft because I want to help my city out.
But you really know a hell of a lot about bees if that makes you feel better.
Thanks, man.
Hey,
that's all I want to hear from you.
We ready to roll with this thing?
Yeah.
All right, let's put it up. Here's what we did. We put 3 test schedules up. We have no idea. Let me preface this, okay, and be crystal clear. This is not a leak. We have no idea if the Jaguars are playing this schedule. We just came up with some schedule ideas. See if you like them. And when I nail this thing 16 for 16, I just want you to know I'm going to brag about it forever.
Oh, let me see what we got here.
And we didn't put the primetime game up. We didn't do that.
Oh, no.
We didn't pick the primetime game here.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kuz is putting that up right now. Tell us what you think. And what we're going to do is we'll tweet this out. What's the matter?
You cheated then.
Why did I cheat?
The third one.
Well, I changed it around. I'll tell you why.
Well, okay.
Well, I just want it to be reasonable if that's the report out there.
The fix is in.
Well, first of all, my first one on the left is my first review of the schedule.
You're dang right it is.
That's it.
Okay.
The second one is yours.
Correct.
The third one I had done different just to give a third option.
Yes.
And then Submarine Mike said that John Clayton kind of said that it looks like or sounds like teams will play the opposite conference first off. Well, I thought this was a good way to tweak it because there's a lot of people that suspect that the divisional games could be later in the year as well. So I kind of redid that one to put the 4 NFC games in front, like Clayton's saying.
Yep.
And also the last 8 games, you'd be heavily loaded with AFC South games. And by the way, this isn't about us getting it right. It's more about what do you think of him?
Yeah.
What do you like? 1, 2, or 3?
Yep.
Do they all look crappy? Is there one more favorable for the Jags? Just what are your thoughts on it?
Sure.
If you take a look at it, what do you think? Why did you do the schedule? You looked like you were heavy home.
No, I was just stressing.
In the early.
I was stressing because
you were totally guessing.
Well, yeah, I was guessing.
By the way, it's a computer. It's like trying to win the lottery.
Of course. Well, what ended up happening was I had to jot down my B facts, so I deleted the old what I said, so then I had to redo it again. So that's why I was stressing.
Hey, Kuz, the Murder Hornets killed Austin's schedule.
Dude, it's a real thing, man.
What did you write it on or type it up on?
A computer.
Like Word?
No, my email. So what I do during the show is I'll go to my email and then I'll get a draft, and that's how I read for the show.
Okay, never mind. I was gonna say because you could just Control Z or undo until.
Hey man, asking a lot of me right now, right? Like, come on. Look who you're talking to here. So with that being said, I didn't really put a lot of time and effort into it.
No,
I just want to make sure that I didn't mess up too bad.
It's pretty obvious though because the National Football League doesn't put a lot of time and effort into Jacksonville's schedule anyway.
It's a good point, right? So here's what I envision though. I have the Week 9 bye because I think Florida Georgia could be around that time. So they give the Jaguars the Week 9 bye.
Absolutely.
So
you almost have to do that.
So I did my due diligence. So you're welcome. But yeah, besides that, I guessed.
Well, of course, we're all guessing. That's the nature of this.
What do you want me to say? I spent zero effort. I just kind of put teams together, and I want to see Green Bay with maybe a little snow on the ground there.
Well, that's what I did in the first part. I want Green Bay at the latter part, right?
Yeah, you went the hardcore. We want to eat and kill bosses when it's 20 below out.
So here's what I did. You got a nice mix of home and away. You get a couple of AFC South games in the first half of the year. That's been historically the way they've done it. Usually one in the first month and then 2 by the halfway point of the season. And then it is backloaded to begin with anyway. I tried not to go too heavy. 3 home games or 3 away games in a row on the left-hand side, and you finish with a couple of division games because those are the important games. Well, option 2 is your schedule, and you went front-loaded heavy at home. I mean, big time at home. 6 out of the first 8 games, and you can argue because, hey, it's Florida. Things have opened up. We're going to play everything down there.
That's what I was thinking.
Very interesting.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, that road schedule could be a beast.
Well, and I'm going to be honest. I didn't know I had 6 of the first 8 games at home, but now that I see it, I don't like that, but okay, let's keep going.
Well, but this is good for what the exercise is.
Sure.
Because this gives the chance of the Jags to play at home and get off to a quick start. Would that be good? The question is it's ideal schedule.
Correct.
You can kind of have fun with it.
Yeah.
So I don't mind what you did there.
Shock my schedule, Brent. Keep going. I love it.
And then option 3 is we got word, at least, that John Clayton reported here today or last couple of days that you're going to play the other conference early on the first month of the year. So we did it that way. Well, what does it look like if the Jags play the NFC North in the first 4 games of the year? And I believe the thinking would be, and I didn't hear John Clayton talk about this, but I believe the thinking would say, well, we're going to do it that way because if we had to cancel or squeeze the season, those are the least important games from tiebreakers and everything else.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Correct.
Well, what that does is it really backloads the schedule with divisional games. And so in option number 3, if you believe in the backloading of the schedule in divisional games, well, you have 5 out of your last 8 games against divisional opponents.
Yep.
And there are some people that say that's going to happen. I've heard mixed reviews on that, but we'll see. Because I believe they're going to get all 16 in one way or another. I think there's a better chance they delay the season at some point to get all 16 in. But I understand the logic in doing that. So take a look at it. You have all night to figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll go back to it tomorrow.
Oh, I don't want to go back to mine.
and we'll see what we get.
Coos, can you edit mine, please? I don't want to have 6 out of 8 the first home game. Well, whatever.
Send me your new one. We'll get it.
No, it's fine. I don't care.
We're not doing that. He's on. Listen, he won the day with bees.
You have 2 of them.
He won the day with bees.
Who's soft right now?
And primetime games.
Who's soft right now, though? Who's getting a little offended? I'm going to change my schedule.
Well, you're soft right now because you're going to lose.
Is there a winner in this?
Schedule's out tomorrow. Can't wait for it. Why didn't we predict the preseason games? Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Hey, we'll see you on TV tonight, by the way. CBS 47 and Fox 30. Thanks for hanging with us on ESPN 690. Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, we appreciate it. But your boss says you're working from home this week, so take us with you. Your smart speaker brings ESPN 690 into your home office. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN 690.
These days, the whole world is on the internet 24/7, on their phones, at work, even at the dinner table. It's the internet all the time. So why, when it's time to sell your home,